Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today we're gonna watch an FFA. The FFA is the first it's one of the first games. It's the first round, the first play day, I guess, I don't know, of season 17 of the FFA Masters League, also known as FML. And again, season 17, how ridiculous is that? It's ridiculous. So if you don't know anything at all about the format of the FML League, basically it's 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. So there's always 4 players versing each other. And let's go ahead and introduce our players. We have yAwS.de spawning in as the human, the yellow human in fact. He's going to be spawning here at the, call it the 10 o'clock position? No, it's roughly the 10 o'clock position. The map is Marketplace, and of course you probably know who yAwS is. He is a very, very good solo player, been playing for a very long time. He's probably the only player that most of you will recognize. But let's go ahead and introduce our other players. Up here at the 1 o'clock position, we have FiReDrAgOn spawning in as the blue human. He is playing random, so, you know, he random human, which is cool. At the 3 o'clock position, we'll say, we have FAiL.Life spawning in as the red night elf player. He has already kind of gotten off to quite a good start, building an Ancient of War right here, which he can use to creep out this little expansion camp. And of course in FFA, one of the names of the game is going to be Economy, so he's going to have to very quickly get that early expansion up. And in fact, generally speaking, you generally always want to get an expansion up pretty early on in FFA. Just one of those things. Down at the, you're going to call it the 5.5 o'clock position? I don't know. We'll just say the 5 o'clock position. We have Audigy spawning in as the dark green undead player. Ooh. One of the first things you always want to look at whenever you're watching FFA is the spawns, because Marketplace is a very big map, and ideally you would have one player in each quadrant of the map, because you have these spawns on here. This can be a player spawn, that's a player spawn, that's a player spawn, player spawn, player spawn. There's a pretty simple pattern right there for player spawns. And ideally you want to be fairly far away from your other opponents in FFA. And so for yAwS and Audigy, they got pretty decent spawns. Unfortunately for FiReDrAgOn and FAiL.Life, they're spawned pretty much right on top of each other, which is really unfortunate because this gold mine is probably going to get a little bit contested by one of these two players, and as it's looking like, it might be FiReDrAgOn who has to do the contesting, because really for FiReDrAgOn, this is his only viable spawn, or gold mine. He could take this one. Actually, I didn't even see that was there, so never mind. I guess he's probably going to take this one. But really, this is the one he wants. He's very closer to him. But, you know, just gonna have to see. Of course, generally you're gonna scout just a little bit in the early game. You just want to find out who's next to you and how close those players are. You know, for example, for yAwS, he should really scout here, and he did. And he knows that the blue player's over here at this spawn because of that scout. Then roughly, he knows roughly that much, and he's probably gonna scout down here at some point fairly early on, just to see if there's anybody at his what is that? At his 6 o'clock, right below him, at his 6. He might not scout for that little while, but he should fairly early on. It looks like he's going to go for this expansion, which you would expect him to do. Of course, we do have FAiL.Life going with the Dark Ranger first. Interesting choice. It's a very good hero in FFA, because you're very likely to get it to level 6, especially if you're playing it as a first hero, which means that you get to really abuse charm in the late game. That's always going to be fun, especially when you have so many units, and Economy is the big name in the game, really in the late game and throughout the whole game. So it's a very, very good hero. You'll even see like Orc players getting a Dark Ranger. It's such a good FFA hero. And of course, FAiL.Life will be putting down the Tree of Life at this expansion slot. Over here we can see FiReDrAgOn. He does have his Archmage on. He does have his Footman, his little group, his little squaddle, I don't know. He's just going to be able to probably come in here and try to creep this, but I don't see... Can he creep this out with this? He could. He won't be able to if he gets creep jacked, but who knows. He does have some militia coming in here, and down here we're going to see that FAiL.Life is going to continue creeping out with his archers. Generally speaking, you don't see a lot of creep jacking action in the early game. You're just going to see a lot of creeping, because people generally want to get the high level heroes ASAP. They want to get their expansion secured, and then they want to start fighting. And sometimes we'll see the expansion get secured, and then you'll see some skirmishes and some fights and such, but we're going to have to wait to see exactly how this game plays out. Where is Mr. yAwS? He's actually over here creeping out of green. Getting level 3 on that Archmage. Not bad. He's going to be able to scout up here with that Water Elemental, see if anybody's going over here, maybe? Over here? Maybe? I don't know what he's doing. I guess he could take it all the way over here if he really wanted to. And looks like he will. Down here, we're going to see that FAiL.Life continues creeping. He is level 3 on that Dark Ranger. Doing a decent job, but I mean, Doesn't have any skeletons, it looks like, so he might lose an archer or two. Lost one archer. Will he lose a second one? Potentially, if he can't get this bandit off his 6. Oh, I keep saying 6. It's like I said 6 o'clock one time and just starts getting into all of your speech patterns. Of course, another archer will go down to creeps. That one was a little sloppy because he could have saved it very easily. Just a little bit of micro. That's only a level 1 bandit, but so be it. Over here we can see yAwS has decided to pick a fight with FiReDrAgOn. Really not good for FiReDrAgOn because he doesn't. This is already a hard position for him to expo at, and on top of that, frankly, he was teching already. He wasn't really prepared. I wasn't putting in a lot of money for defense. Didn't have a very large army. As you can see, I don't even know where his army is. Can we find it? Yeah, down here. There's not a lot in this army. And so that's pretty much, he's just going to have this really unfortunate situation where he doesn't get his first expansion up. And in fact, he's going to go ahead and tell people that yAwS is a little bit, he's going to insult him just a little bit. He's not very happy with yAwS, and yAwS, of course, is saying, well, thanks. It's a great, he's going to take that as a compliment. And really, in FFA, there's almost an unwritten rule that you don't go for those early expansions, you don't go for the cancels and such, because, you know, you're essentially saying, go ahead, you're going to have to attack me, and that's generally what happens, is FiReDrAgOn's going to say, well, you attacked me, so I'm going to just suicide into you and try to prevent you from getting your economy up. And it's an interesting choice. It really is an interesting choice to go for that, because really FiReDrAgOn could just go for an expansion somewhere else on the map. But again, given his position, the only real position is going to be this one. So he'd have to just kind of bolster his defenses right there and actually go for that expansion. It's hardcore. But he's decided not to do that. He just wants to go ahead and see if he can do something, make something happen here with yAwS. But I think he's actually just trying to suicide into yAwS. I think at this point he's kind of just said, you know what, I'm probably not going to win unless something crazy happens. So I'm just going to try to screw you over in the early game as well. Which is actually a little bit funny, because oftentimes when you see that sort of situation arise, you might end up seeing those two players working together later on in the game to try to team somebody else down who, you know, had a better early game than them. But that generally will only happen if the other players end up deciding to solo. And in this case, I would say it's probably safe to say that FiReDrAgOn's going to have to take on yAwS and FAiL.Life at this point, given this position. So this might not really be a very good move by FiReDrAgOn whatsoever, really. He should probably not be doing this. He should really probably be trying to secure this right here. And he's doing that a little bit with one scout tower, but he could really use a more heavy investment into that right there. He does have plenty of resources, as you can see, 1,000 gold and 800 wood. But he's just not. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. He's going to build a second lumber mill over here for some reason. Maybe to get faster upgrades, and of course it's always good because the wood's very hard to get to. But he has plenty of wood right there. I guess he just has some excess gold, so he's going to worry about that a little bit. Down here we can see Audigy. He is creeping up, or teching up. He's about to hit Black Citadel, getting that expansion secured finally, and he's also got another one on the way. So he's got 2 expansions on the way. You can oftentimes see undeads doing this in the early game. FFA is a very different type of game, really, than solo whatsoever, or really entirely. You would never see an undead player going for 2 expansions at the start of a game in an FFA, or a solo, but in an FFA you can actually see that. In the middle of the map you can see a little bit of fighting going on. It looks like FiReDrAgOn was able to get the last hit on that creep right there and level up. Audigy, of course, he wanted to go ahead and level up as well, but he didn't quite get it. He has gone Dark Ranger as his second hero and Death Knight as his first hero. Very interesting choices. Of course, yAwS is going to run right into this army, and they're going to have a little bit of a skirmish right now. And it looks like Audigy's army could easily win this fight, no problem. But are these defended footmen? I don't see defend on these footmen, which means they're going to have a very hard time actually killing anything with coil on the field. Very close coil there, very nicely microed by Audigy, and that skeleton actually will go down. It does turn into a lesser dark minion, which he can actually just go ahead and keep using to find this fighting position a little bit easier for him. He does have another coil ready for that, and it looks like he's just going to try to feed off of yAwS's footman right here and get as much experience as possible. Will he lose a fiend? He could potentially lose a fiend. He does have a coil ready, there it is, but he doesn't have any more coils at this point, so he's gonna have to be really careful to not lose any more fiends or get them very low, because he can't coil them. So he's gonna have to run away from those water elementals. They do a lot of damage early on. They're kind of very scary units, but he did kill several of those footmen. I think he killed 3 or 4. So why not just keep on creeping? That's what he did. And of course, he needs to stay kind of close to these expansions because he does have 2 of them right now. This one is a fairly well defended expansion just because of its position. So he knows really there's nobody here. Realistically, it's very unlikely this is going to get attacked. Mainly because he knows these 2 guys are going to go at it more likely than Red going at it with him. The only reason that somebody would attack Audigy right now, given his position, is because they think that, you know, he's being too greedy or he's being too economy based, and they feel like if they don't go after him, then what will happen is he'll get too strong in the late game. And so you don't really want that. It's very interesting. You'll see crazy dynamics going on in kind of FFA games, where people have to choose their targets in a way that, you know, you have to scout everything on the whole map. You have to keep the whole map in your idea. You need to be constantly scouting, and in the early game, that's a little bit difficult to do. And in the late game, it's a little bit easier when you're undead. You have shades. But there's another option for getting scouting intel, and that's actually talking in chat, which is a completely different thing. A lot of people in FFA call it manipulation, and really what it is it's getting scouting information from other players, as well as this whole idea of quote-unquote controlling other players' actions, getting them to do what you want them to do. Whether that be to not attack you, to team up with you, or even to attack you. Really, it's very interesting. You know, try to convince each player how much gold you have. You really won't ever tell someone how much gold you really have unless you want them to think that you're lying. Generally speaking, I guess you could tell them how much gold you really have if you think that they'll believe you. But generally, that just doesn't ever happen at all. But again, so there's that whole very interesting mind game mechanic going on in the manipulation type thing. Of course, we can see FAiL.Life. He's just got this panda. He's got a level 5 Dark Ranger. It's very high level. Running away from FiReDrAgon's heroes. FiReDrAgon does have an expansion up finally, but he only has 1. He has the fewest amount of expansions on the map. Of course, FAiL.Life getting bolted on that Dark Ranger. We'll pop that Potion of Lesser Invulnerability to go ahead and dodge that. Will you see the Dark Panda will actually not get chased down, and FiReDrAgon backs off just a little bit there. At this point, we kind of have not a lot going on, so we're just going to start going into a 3x speed. I think 3x would be a good speed. Just a little bit faster while players creep up a little bit, tech up. Let's look at their tech, in fact. Here we can see that FiReDrAgon now hitting tier 3. He does have a couple of workshops on the field, and he's just going to be able to use those for crazy stuff. Of course, Dreadlord? Dreadlord is the 3rd hero for Audigy? Okay, fair enough. And he's going to have to be very careful. He's got a lot of very low HP stuff on the field right there, and he needs to be very careful. Of course, FAiL.Life is going with the famed, I guess, Chimera Hippogriff, Chimera Hippogriff Hippo armor composition. Getting Priestess of the Moon as his 3rd hero. Of course, we can see yAwS. He is going to be going with the workshops, and the 3 workshops, double Arcane Sanctum build. Allows him to make tanks, allows him to make flying machines, allows him to make casters. All of these things very, very good. And of course, we can see that every player has 2 expansions, except for FiReDrAgOn, who still only has 1 expansion. He's really in a rough spot. And he's actually going to get attacked by these Chimeras. They do have their siege attack upgrade. Let's go back into 1x speed here. And he will just be able to use those in a very effective manner to take out a little bit of towers, maybe be able to take out some production, maybe some farms, etc. But he does need to be a little bit careful because there are flying machines on the map as well as siege engines with their anti-air attack upgrade, and we don't actually see any way for him to deal with those just yet other than his heroes. Of course, he does have that answer on the way in the form of Hippogriffs. Of course, we will look and see that FAiL.Life is sitting at 81 out of 100 food. He does have 2 expansions, but he's saying, you know what, I want to kill off Mr. FiReDrAgOn up here. And not only do I want to kill him off, you know, I want to probably take all of his bases for my own. And that's interesting. It's always interesting because he's not really in the mood to bank up. You see, he went straight up to the 80 upkeep, said that's what I want to do. We're only 15.5 minutes into the game. He's already at 80 food. He wouldn't have had probably detonated a wisp right there because he doesn't really want to be sitting at just 81 food. It's not really good for him. You want to either be sitting significantly into high upkeep or rather just sit at 80 food. And of course, the siege range on these chimeras is just super good. And of course, they do have that level 1 True Shot aura as well as the 3 attack upgrades, which is really nice. Of course, we're going to see this this panda brew master guy just trying to kill all these flying machines. Looks like the Hippogriff actually got crippled by the Doombringer guard, the Doom guard here, and he casted slow? No, the Sorceress casted slow on the Dark Ranger as everything kind of runs away. Doom guard is a great item to get from creeps. It's really, really nice. Of course, up here we can see yAwS. He's creeping out. yAwS has been left alone for the most part in this game. It's very interesting. Of course, unfortunately, his Paladin was tanking. Not really the hero you want to have tanking there. You'd really rather anything else tank because, well, he can just heal it then. But, you know, of course, he has to be very careful. This Granite Golem is very smart AI. It focuses whatever the lowest HP unit you have around. That's what it focuses on. Tries to kill it, takes it out. In this case, it looks like it'll be militia. He's gonna have to be really careful about creeping out of it as well. This is just kind of crazy. And every time you run 3 guys into his range, he'll just go ahead and stomp you. So you gotta be really careful about that as well. And in fact, the Paladin got staffed out. Paladin, or the Archmage will hit up level 5, Mountain King at level 4, and he's gonna get up some nice. Ooh, he got a great item, Kellen's Dagger of Escape. If you've ever seen Dota, you know what that is. It allows you to have a blink. It's basically the Warden's blink. It's really, really nice on a Mountain King. Allows you to chase down heroes and get crazy ass bolts and stuff, and it's really, really good. And of course, in Warcraft 3. There's no nonsense where if you get attacked you can't use it. No, it's never disabled. You can always use it. It just has a short little cooldown that you have to wait whenever you do use it. So that's about that. That's really the only thing. We have 2 Orbs of Corruption on the ground right here for Audigy. I'm not sure. Did he just? I believe he just actually killed 2 Orbs of Corruption. I hope my eyes deceived me. I don't know, but he did pick up an Orb of Frost for the Dreadlord, which is great, but he could have sold them. It's like could have kept him on a hero, sold him some, I don't know. We're just gonna ignore that. We're going to ignore it is what we're gonna do. Over here we can actually see FAiL.Life still continuing the siege. This time he's got a whole bunch of Hippogriffs, and those guys are upgraded with the Bear's Roar, it would look like. And in fact, he's just going to try to take out those flying machines, and FiReDrAgOn's in a lot of trouble right now. You know, this is one of the problems with saying out loud in chat, you know, oh, you screwed me over. It's that, you know, your opponents know you're weak now. And because FAiL.Life knew he was weak, he could very easily say, I can just go straight up to 80 upkeep, and I can just take this sucker out, and there's nothing he can do about it because he's weak, and he told me he's weak. You know, and really, if FiReDrAgOn had just said, you know, my expansion got canceled, just, you know, deal with it and go back, put it up again, immediately bolster the defenses there. You know, you would have had enough resources probably to go ahead and maybe build another expansion somewhere else on the map at some point, who knows. But let's look at the expansion counts once again as we go into 2x speed. We do have Audigy sitting at 2 expansions? It's still at 2, okay, fair enough. FAiL.Life is sitting at 2 as well, as also, of course, he's taking out FiReDrAgOn's base. And here we can see FiReDrAgOn sitting at 1. Of course, you can see a little bit of nip going on in the chat if you're bothering to read that. And over here, we actually have yAwS sitting at not only 2, but 3 expansions with a 4th one on the way. Very good play by yAwS. Of course, he is just kind of allowing himself lots of time. And of course, he has Magic Sentry upgrade as well as Arcane Tower, so that does allow him to actually scan around the map just using those little guys. Very useful, of course. FAiL.Life building 2 Ancient of Wars right here at the entrance of his expansion. Doesn't want that to get taken down. He's got 2 over here. Of course, those are always good to have, just to have them around. And FiReDrAgOn actually went ahead and talked in all chat and told everybody that, hey, listen, FAiL.Life, he's got a full army of Chippo, and he just took me out. My main base is out. And so it's very unlikely that we're going to see FiReDrAgOn actually losing the game just right now, because that would mean that FiReDrAgOn has the intention of actually going ahead and finishing him off, which takes time. So maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But we'll have to wait and see exactly. Of course, we can see FAiL.Life is scouting around with an Owl Scout. Owl Scout's a really good item, or a really good skill to use, especially in FFA where you may not necessarily really care too much about the Searing Arrow DPS. It's nice, but it's, again, very much focusing down a hero type of play, and you're not really doing that too much. I think in FFA you have all of these heroes, they're going to be high levels, I'll get out, and so it's a little bit harder to do that. But we're going to go back into 1x speed. As we can see, yAwS right now, he looks like he's ready to attack somebody. He's got all these tanks out, and he says, okay, these tanks are my anti-air. He's like, I happen to know FAiL.Life has a bunch of air, so maybe I'll go attack him and say what's up. Of course, these Spellbreakers, they're going to be pretty much immune to all of these Chimera attacks. Actually, no, they won't. Well, yeah, they will, I think. I think they will. Because I think the siege only attacks buildings. So yeah, they're definitely immune to this good old chimeras. And we're just gonna see these chimeras, trying to focus on heroes, it looks like. And of course, he's focusing down the Archmage and the Mountain King, which is a bit not the greatest idea. Those guys both had good old potions of invulnerability, and the Paladin, of course, can sit there and cast Holy Lights on them. Now, one thing that would have been interesting would have been to have the Kellen's Blink Dagger on the Paladin instead of the Mountain King could actually, you know, jump around, blink around to get those crazy clutch heals off. But as you can see, it looks like that was ending in a little bit. I don't know who came out on top right there, but you know, yAwS definitely went ahead and TP'd out. He did do a fair amount of damage, but let's look at the food counts. yAwS sitting at 80 food, and FAiL.Life sitting at 80 food as well. Of course, yAwS really just needs to buy as much time as possible right now, because he's sitting on tons of expansions. As you can see, 4 expansions. Here we do have the Audigy with that shade. Now, generally speaking, you could always, with Magic Sentry, you can actually get a tower up that sees and kills shades. But, you know, he doesn't have towers at every single expansion just yet, which he might not even ever do. We're going to go back into 2x speed. Actually, let's go into, oops, that's half a speed, half an x. We're going to go into 2x, let's go into 4x for a little bit. And let's see, Audigy is putting up a third expansion right there. Of course, there's another potential creep right there. Audigy sitting at 50 food. Actually, let's go to 2x, let's drop down. Audigy has 17,000 gold. Audigy is definitely coming out ahead, even though he doesn't have as many expansions as yAwS. He is sitting there with so much more gold. He has 4,000 more gold than Audigy, or than yAwS, but that's not going to last unless he can get more expansion. And of course, he does have this additional expansion right here. It looks like he's trying to make way, as you can see. He can probably kill a fiend or two, or something. I don't know what he did. But he's working on getting enough of those to get those acolytes back up so he can actually stay here and still be banking at 50 food. He is going to be so rich if yAwS is, or, you know, either yAwS or FAiL.Life needs to come down here and force Mr. Audigy to actually make some buildings. And you can actually see he's making a ton of towers right here, just a ton of towers, still has a ton of gold, actually has no wood whatsoever, has 17,000 gold and only 80 wood. That is just a shame. Over here, we're going to watch stack onto 1x speed as this fight goes underway. You're going to see a nice staff. We're going to see the Archmage, of course, popping a potion of invulnerability. He needs that because he's taking a lot of damage, a lot of hits there. And of course, FAiL.Life has kind of transitioned out of his Chimera Hippo build into a Bear and Dot build, which is going to allow him to do absolutely crazy amounts of damage. He does, of course, still have these Hippogriffs because he just has them. He hasn't lost them. No need to suicide those bad boys just yet. You can use those for all sorts of things. Why not? Over here we can see FiReDrAgOn. Oh no! His Mountain King actually just died to creeps. That is unfortunate. It was purged. And these guys do so much damage. That is so unfortunate for him. Wow. So unfortunate. He actually went ahead and lost the Mountain King to creeps in the late game, and that is a terrible shame for him. But he has been able, it looks like, to reclaim his main gold mine. This is very, very big deal because he only has one gold mine right now, and if he doesn't want to come in last, he's going to have to do something to get more income. There are a couple of free gold mines on the map, this one and this one, so he might potentially end up trying to take those at some point just to sneak down here. That would be great. But of course, we can still see yAwS is sitting at 4 expansions. He's still sitting at 80 food, and he's actually up to 15,000 gold. Of course, Audigy is actually sitting on nearly 20,000 right now, which is just ridiculous. And of course, he's been sitting on less than 80 food this whole game. He's sitting on under 50. He's sitting in low upkeep, or no upkeep whatsoever, which is just fantastic for him. And no one's even bothered to contest him. No one's even bothered to contest him whatsoever. But yAwS is on the move down. He's on the move south. So he might even be coming right on over to Audigy's bases and say, you know what, I think I can go with Audigy. He's kind of been messing with FAiL.Life. And he knows if he's been messing with FAiL.Life and FAiL.Life's been messing with FiReDrAgOn, then who's been messing with Audigy? And the answer is nobody. Nobody at all. Of course, we can see that FiReDrAgOn, not really the most nice player. I'm just making in some insulting comments there, but hey. Of course, some people call that manipulation, some people call that bad manner. In FFA, it's very hard to draw the line, really. Very difficult, because everything kind of matters. Of course, of course, up here we can see FAiL.Life saying, you know what, FiReDrAgOn, I don't like your attitude. I'm going to take you out one more time, boy. And that's exactly what he's doing. And it's very strange because you'll see that in FFA players generally just don't even bother to finish people off. Because it costs resources to finish somebody off, to finish off someone's last defenses. You know, if you get them down out of the game, down and out, there's always that tiny little chance they can come back in the game. They can weasel their way back in if they play really, really well. But generally, if you're way ahead of them, if you're confident in your ability, you just say, you know what, I don't really think that I can afford to spend my last bit of resources finishing off, and I'll let somebody else do that. Of course, you are in a sense trading resources for experience, but there is another thing to consider as well. If you let them stay in the game, then you can actually go ahead and milk them for experience as the game goes, as they have little small forces that you just keep on obliterating over and over. And it makes a very interesting dynamic, which makes it very worth it sometimes for another player to actually want to come in and finish somebody off. So it's very complicated, really. Of course, FAiL.Life, he was building this Tree of Life for quite some time, so it's just about finished once he took out that town hall right there that was mining gold. And of course, that is a big blow for FiReDrAgOn. He is just. Looks like he's going to try to tell everybody what's going on. Red's still 100 food Chippo after he sent those tanks yellow, and Red. So he's saying, hey, Red. Well, he's asking if Red. I'm not sure what he's saying. He's just saying, is he still at 100 food? But really, reality, FAiL.Life never went to 100 food. And actually, what FiReDrAgon's doing is actually helping out FAiL.Life just a little bit. But FAiL.Life is saying that, no, I was only at 80, which I think is maybe a mistake to say. You know, if they think you're at 100, then that means, oh, well, FAiL.Life, I'm not getting any gold at all. So I was at 100. I was in high upkeep, and I only had 2 bases, and maybe 3 mines if you consider this one. But I've got very low resources, and that's a little bit of a skill for manipulation there. If you can convince everyone in the game that you are sitting at 100 food when really only sitting at 80, and so you end up getting, what is it? It's a lot. I was gonna say a percent. I was like, I'm not gonna do the math. It's a fair amount more money. I would say it's somewhere around 50% more money when you're sitting in low upkeep compared to when you're in high upkeep. So it's good, but of course, FAiL.Life just didn't really jump on that, so that's unfortunate for him, because he could very easily. But FAiL.Life is sitting at the lowest amount of gold right now in the game. You can see he's only got 4,462 gold, sitting at 80 food, whereas Audigy, wow, Audigy has 22,600 gold with 80 upkeep. Sitting in low upkeep, 80 food, and it looks like he's got yAwS. Now, yAwS is always an interesting strategy to go with, and it's not bad. It's one of the strategies that really, I don't want to say this in a crass way, but it just doesn't take any skill to use. Once you get it, it's such an easy army. You just almost attack move with it. You know, positioning matters, but man, it is so easy. And that's actually a really good thing, though, because it is so hard. It is so hard to deal with this sort of army. Very, very difficult to deal with a traditional army. When the human has high-level heroes as an undead player, it's very, very difficult. This is an army, this Chippo army, really. It's actually not even a Chippo army, where it's got chimeras, bears, and dots. It's very difficult to deal with, even with yAwS. But it's a great composition, and I love yAwS. It's one of my favorite strategies in the game as an undead player, but you never really see it in solo because it's just so easy to deal with in a one-on-one situation. But in an FFA situation, it's a whole lot harder because, oh man, this is such a strategy where the economy makes such a big difference, and Audigy has so much economy, he can just sit there and yAwS up. And also, of course, with these Temples of the Damned, that does mean he has the ability to transition into Master Banshees if he wants to. And of course, there's a Fountain of Mana on the map, so he can actually go ahead and use that Fountain of Mana to go ahead and just have loads of mana on those Necromancers. As you can see, such a good map when you have that option. And of course, he's got a level 5 Dreadlord, level 5 on the Death Knight, and level 5 on the Dark Ranger. Looks like he's going to engage with yAwS in a battle. And he's also got an Amulet of the Wild, which allows him to summon a Furball Warrior, a big crazy warrior guy, for 180 seconds. A very good item. Very good item. And of course, we're just going to see this fight going underway. Doesn't need to make sure he doesn't lose anything. And I would be surprised, but he doesn't have Death Pact, does he? He does not have Death Pact. Going to be forced to TP on that because he went Unholy Aura level 2. Maybe a bit of a shame, because with Death Pact and a Fountain of Mana, you can very easily go ahead and Death Pact, not the little skeleton warriors, but you can Death Pact the skeleton mages, which have 230 hit points, so that's not bad for you whatsoever. Of course, the one big downside, the huge downside, massive downside of yAwS, the big thing you can never, ever underestimate is the fact that it feeds so much experience. Oh man, does it feed a lot of experience, and you have to be very careful with that. Of course, we just missed a fight. It would look like FiReDrAgOn over here fighting against FAiL.Life, and he just unfortunately lost. He lost his Paladin as well, and he's building a lumber mill over here. I'm not sure what he's going to do with that. Of course, FAiL.Life says, you know what, somehow this expansion has fallen for FAiL.Life, and he wants to build that back up. And he's not really. FAiL.Life and FiReDrAgOn are just, they're locked in this eternal struggle with each other, and they're both so far behind. If they only knew how far behind they would be working together to take down yAwS and Audigy. Of course, yAwS is also kind of being crazy. I can't tell you who's winning this fight. It looks like FAiL.Life is, though, just because most of yAwS' army at this point is tanks, and it looks like he's just going to go ahead and use those tanks to just go ahead maybe and try to kill down this Tree of Life. Might work. I'm not sure where they're headed. Maybe he's going to head a couple of those that way, a couple of them this way. And of course, we can actually see FiReDrAgOn saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and deal with, I'm going to deal with FAiL.Life's army while he tries to deal with yAwS tanks here. And that's just going to be really difficult for FAiL.Life to deal with. And FiReDrAgon's, he's got to. He's the lowest, he's the most underdog in this game currently. So far behind compared to everybody else, so far behind. Of course, yAwS just using these tanks, only 2 tanks at this point, and it's because FAiL.Life hasn't uprooted that. I don't know why he didn't uproot that. That should be your first thing. If you ever see tanks on your Tree of Life, you need to uproot it because that changes their armor type to be this, I believe, heavy instead of fortified, and that is just a massive deal. Of course, it's interesting that chimeras do not target siege engines with their siege attack. They would just obliterate them so quickly otherwise, but that happens, so it's unfortunate. Anyway, FiReDrAgOn did actually take a sneaky expansion down here, and yAwS is saying, well, you can't have that. But on top of that, Audigy saying, well, you can't kill that. And he's like, I'm going to kill that instead. And we're going to see yAwS TPing out of here. And Audigy just with this massive army. yAwS, wonderful army. And of course, you can see they're so full of these corpses. And in fact, even has one of the fiends died, and the meat wagon said, you know what, we're not gonna waste a corpse. Picked it up. Always a good idea to do. Always a good idea to do. Of course, over here we can still see yAwS sitting at 19,000 gold with 5 gold mines. Well, not 5 gold mines anymore. This one's died. And this one hasn't because he didn't quit mining it out. Just figured why not keep it there. Audigy going to take this expansion now. And he has 1 gold mine. 2 gold. No. Let's count gold mines. Let's count active gold mines. We'll count this one as an active gold mine. Even though it's not quite. It's just about to be. So that's 1, 2, 3 maybe? Yeah, 3 active gold mines. With a 4th on the way for Audigy. Which is really, really good compared to yAwS. Ooh, this one's about to not be. So we won't count that one. 1, 2. So 2 for yAwS. So Audigy's about doubly ahead. And of course, FAiL.Life is sitting on... Really? He's sitting on... I want to call this one 1, but this one's about to go down as well. Again, he's not uprooting it. He's just not doing a good job with that. But he might be able to save it. Just maybe. Ah, it doesn't look like he will. And he's not going to be able to save this one either, it looks like. So FAiL.Life actually somehow turning out to be behind, perhaps, good old FiReDrAgOn. But of course, both players are really far behind everyone right now. And he's only got 2,350 gold left in this gold mine. So there's not really a lot of good stuff to be said for Mr. FiReDrAgOn himself. He's going to be wasting yet another TP. Will he lose that Paladin? Oh no, it looks like it's going to die. That's a huge shame for him, and he's going to have to spend 170 gold to get that Paladin back. And that is just not something he really wanted to do. And in fact, we can actually see he might be in a little bit more trouble than we thought, as he's being chased around the map by yAwS right now. And yAwS does have the Blink Dagger on the Mountain King, so he could easily blink, and he could easily bolt something, and there's the blink, and where's the bolt? There's the bolt! Ah, yes, indeed, and he's going to go ahead and try to kill this Mountain King with a Thunderclap to get it slowed as well, and that is going to probably be the good game on the Mountain King right there. Of course, he can always blink again in a short little while, if he needs to keep on chasing that Mountain King and to get the kill, because there's really nothing that can happen to save this Mountain King, except maybe this Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. It's definitely possible, but where is he going to run? Even if he does get 7 seconds of invulnerability, he can't run in here, really. Oh, but there is a Paladin. Will the Paladin go for the heal? No, it won't. He's just going to run this Mountain King as far away as he can. There's the bolt. Oh, and the blink and the bolt, and of course, unfortunately, you know, he probably was, Mr. FiReDrAgOn probably wasn't expecting that blink, so he wasn't quite ready, wasn't quite there in time to go ahead and save it with, you know, the dodge with the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Over here for Audigy, we can see he's actually taking out yAwS expansion, one of the expansions of yAwS anyway, which is going to bring him down to 1 active gold mine. Definitely not a good spot for yAwS, actually. Audigy, of course, still sitting on 1. We're going to count proper this time, 2. And 3 active gold mines. He's also sitting at 80 food with 29,000 gold. Wow, so much money for Mr. Audigy, so much money. Of course, yAwS is sitting at 21,000 with 63 food upkeep. But he only has 1 gold mine. So we're going to have to see yAwS pull out something really spectacular. Spectacular? Sure. He's going to have to pull out something very spectacular to actually beat Audigy in this game, which we might see, and we might not. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, yAwS is down here saying, you know what, Audigy, I'm going to kill this gold mine. You have too many gold mines. But unfortunately for him, here comes FAiL.Life. He's going to sandwich in Mr. yAwS. Well, actually, the sandwiching is going to happen perhaps to FAiL.Life. As you can see, maybe, perhaps just maybe, Audigy is going to run in here and try to deal with this army himself. He could potentially kill this army. Does he have web? If he has web, this would be a very easy army for him to take on, really without any doubt. He's got this huge Necro Wagon army, which is just a wonderful army. It allows you to so much flexibility in the game. And of course, with all those units, it's very difficult to take out. And with a couple of Fiends, you can even deal with these Chimeras without too much problem, because frankly, these aren't that great of units. And of course, he's going to actually cast a sleep on one of those Chimeras. The big issue here might be the Panda in this fight, but we're going to have to wait and see who's going to win this fight, because it could go either way. And he does have that Inferno Stone. If he used that, he could easily win, I do believe. But we'll have to see how that's going to play out. And he's just working on getting level 6s on all of his heroes. I think that would be really good for him if he can pick up level 6 on the Dryad, or on the Dark Ranger, pick up level 6 on the Dreadlord, etc. But it looks like he's going to back off just a little bit here. I don't know quite what he's doing. He can still easily win this fight, I think, without a doubt. He's really just got these great hero levels. And in fact, FAiL.Life's going to go ahead and TP out. Will we see that Chimera going down? We will see it going down. Of course, yAwS is right there on the other side of FAiL.Life, so FAiL.Life really had to get out there, but he did lose that Panda, unfortunately for him. The Bound King actually blinked in, got a nice Thunderclap off, and a Bolt that finished off a Crypt Fiend. And the question is, can yAwS win this fight? He potentially could even. And we're fighting within a little within the range of yAwS's Arcane Towers right there. So that's always interesting to see. And we're going to see a nice Unique King staffed out, but I didn't quite catch it. I think it might have been the Archmage. It looks like it was the Archmage, in fact. And the Mountain King's actually sitting here, slept, and there's nothing he can do about that. He finally wakes up out of that terrible dream. He's like, oh, I thought I wasn't in a fight. And he's like, oh, I wasn't in a fight. And it was actually the case. And now he's running away. Of course, he doesn't have really any way to defeat this army. Audigy just has a wonderful army right now. It's a great composition, high-level heroes, and he's getting so close to the very dreaded 666. So we're going to see if that actually can be accomplished. And we're going to see him trying to chase down maybe those heroes, but there's 2 in the Arcane Towers right here. He can't really chase up that and try to nuke down. He would just lose all of his mana very, very quickly. So he's not really even going to bother with that. yAwS over here does have a tank just kind of chilling out. We're going to see FAiL.Life's armies run right by it. They might not even notice. Down here we can see there is a tank. Finally uprooted some Ancient of Wars to go ahead and try to deal with this tank. If he just deals with it, kills this one tank, but really this one tank's not going to do a whole lot of damage. So he might find that it's better just to keep it rooted down. Well, if he's gonna get the Wisp out there, he might as well as uproot. It looks like he just doesn't even care. You know, I mean, I realize, yes, you lose some time because the Entangled Goldmine goes down. I guess in this case it's not as big of a deal because there's only 1 siege engine. But, you know, it's just, Anyway, some nice micro coming in from yAwS, just making him have the least amount of time mining as possible. And, yeah, that's that. Of course, FAiL.Life up here with that 4,000 gold left in that gold mine. We do happen to have that Shade running slightly too close to the magic sentries, taking a little bit of damage, but he didn't die, so he's not really in a bad spot here. Of course, over here we can see Audigy trying to rebuild this expansion. He said, "This is my gold mine. It's got elite gold left in it. Elite 0 gold. Elite 0. 13,270. Elite 0. I think that's what we need to call that. Elite 0 gold in it." And he's like, "And that's a lot of gold, and I want that gold." So we're going to have to try to stop you from killing it, but of course Audigy says, "I'm at least going to cancel it. You're at least going to have to cancel it. You can't be that greedy." And he's going to maybe say, "Well, yeah, that's fine, but you're going to have to give me a TP for it." And in fact, yAwS says, "That seems like a reasonable trade to me." And yAwS goes out with the TP. No problem. No problem at all. Of course, over here we can still see there's tons of stuff going on in this game. FAiL.Life, he says, "Well, Mr. FiReDrAgOn, you got a peasant here mining some lumber, but I'm going to build a shop. I'm just going to take this stuff out. This is ridiculous." And that's exactly what he intends to do. You can see one of Mr. FiReDrAgon's peasants going down right there, feeding a little bit of experience on over to the undead heroes, which you got to be careful with that, because those guys, they got a lot of experience on them, and they're getting very close to level 6. And in fact, it looks like Mr. Audigy has been able to find one of yAwS's bases that he killed earlier, and he's going to say, "You know what, I want to kill it again." As a fair trade, you know, because you keep killing my base. Of course, the big issue, again, is that we can see Audigy has this gold mine, 1 gold mine, 2 gold mines, and he wants to work on his 3rd gold mine, whereas yAwS is trying to work on his 2nd gold mine. And Audigy, of course, was able to bank much better for much longer than yAwS. You know, of course, sitting in that 50 upkeep food while he had 4 gold mines. Absolutely insane. Audigy going to say, "Well, I'm going to TP in here." Of course, yAwS does have level 6 on his Archmage at this point, which means he's going to be capable of using mass teleportation to go all over the map, all over the place, really quickly, really easily. But the big concern you're still going to have to be very concerned about is the fact that he can be slept during that cast. So he's going to have to be a little bit careful there. That's not a huge deal for him. Over here we can finally see FAiL.Life saying, "You know what, Mr. FiReDrAgOn, you've caused me too much this game. I'm going to take you out." But he won't be able to take him out. It looks like he's going to have to go ahead and defend, as FiReDrAgOn says, I'll go for your main base then." And that's going to cost FAiL.Life a TP, and we're going to see a TP being used on FiReDrAgon's heroes as well, and FiReDrAgOn just, you know, he's just really being a pain for FAiL.Life this game, which is very unfortunate. Of course, yAwS was able to finally take out one of Audigy's gold mines that haven't been disturbed yet, or as of yet, which is really, really good for him. And that's really, really important. That's the kind of play he's going to need to be able to pull out the win in this game. Of course, we can look at the gold counts for a second. We can see Audigy sitting at 31,000 gold. yAwS sitting at 21,000 gold. So really, yAwS has got a lot to do. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's got 10,000 gold deficit compared to his opponent. And he's going to have to use make the most out of that mass teleportation. And of course, miss good old siege engines, of course. Now, Audigy, it's going to be really difficult for him to defend at every single base he has against siege tanks and yAwS's army, and that's what he's going to have to do, because yAwS has the ability to just travel everywhere. Of course, we do see that silence preventing the good old mass teleportation, and he's just going to go ahead and use a TP scroll as the paladin gets slept and just get on out of there. But meanwhile, there was a siege tank over here doing a lot of work. This is going to definitely get canceled. There's nothing he can do about that. And over here we can see the siege engine was totally able to take out everything. So yAwS playing really, really well. And even though Audigy has 10,000 gold ahead of him, 10,000 gold ahead of yAwS right now at this rate, it looks like yAwS might be able to take the victory. Of course, now we can see a sneaky little curious FAiL.Life saying, "You know what, I haven't been over to good old Mr. yAwS for a little while." He's like, "I'm going to come over there and see what's up. So I'm just going to say hi. Maybe I'll do a little bit of attacking. Maybe I'll just do a little bit of scouting, but either way, I'm going to come over there and see what's up." Of course, you can see yAwS, he did TP to here, or at least he came over there. I don't know if it's a TP or not with all these tanks, but it looks like those tanks are going to be running away. Now he's going to mass TP. Where is he going to mass TP? On over here, and indeed he wants to go for Mr. Audigy's main base, which is going to be a serious threat that Audigy will have to deal with at some point. Very soon in his future. Oh, and there's the 666 for Audigy. He just now got it, picking up that off of a tank that was being run away. Of course, FiReDrAgOn, He lost his Mountain King to this creep camp earlier, said, you know what, I'm coming back for you. He's like, I might not win this game, but I will have my revenge on these creeps. And in fact, he does get that revenge. Over here we can see that Audigy, I'm sorry, yAwS and Audigy are fighting out against each other. Of course, yAwS now on the retreat, losing a breaker. There's no way he can take on all those spirit towers, plus the undead army. The whole might of the Scourge resting down upon him. And there's really no way that yAwS can ever run away or have a fight. And this is actually really, really bad. He needs to wake up that Archmage. He's actually just going to go ahead and staff out the Mountain King with the Paladin, because that Archmage was actually silenced, and asleep. He was slept on him. He can't actually use his abilities, his items. When he slept, you can attack him to wake him up, but you can always cast sleep once again. So it's going to be one of those things where you have to be very careful and very fast. And of course, FAiL.Life, you know what? He's kind of teaming up with yAwS a little bit here, a little bit of a smart play. Building an ancient treant here. He said, I saw that this went down to the siege engine, and I'm just going to build this up, and hopefully Audigy will be too distracted to notice and do anything about it. Unfortunately for him, as he goes up, as he kind of finishes, Audigy was over there just because that's where yAwS had decided to TP to. So it was a little bit unfortunate by them, but they did try. They tried their little hearts out to do some good jobs to stop that. Of course, FAiL.Life not being satisfied, having lost that ancient tree protector, he's decided to bring his army over here and try to do something. Of course, these are just a couple of summons, and already that bear is going to take a lot of damage. It's going to be forced to not TP out, but to go back to shift out of bear form into Druid of the Claw form, caster form, if you will, and cast Rejuvenation on himself. And then, of course, at some point, perhaps even shift back into the form of a bear. And down here, we can see that Audigy says, well, I do like my my harass play. I don't really think I can take you on in a straight fight, Mr. Audigy, but what I do think I can do is bleed you dry. And Audigy, he's down to 28,000 gold, 28k gold. Of course, yAwS in a bad situation here because he's going to be forced to pop a TP as well. He really didn't want to have to pop the TP, but maybe he won't actually. It looks like he probably will. He did staff out the Mountain King, but yeah, he's been crippled by the Mr. Necromancer, guys. That's always a pain, and that means he's definitely going to have to go ahead and cast the Scroll of Protection, or the Scroll of Town Portal, I'm sorry. Now, there is actually one serious threat that yAwS perhaps isn't accounting for right now, because he doesn't have... Does he? Oh, he does. Never mind. It is accounted for. He does have a good old Mr. Scroll of Town Portal on the Paladin. The big concern, really, is that Audigy at some point could start abusing the sleep coil mechanic. And the sleep coil mechanic, I've only seen this really ever done well by one undead, and I can't quite remember who it was on. It was a game on Terra in a Stand. It was one of the best games I've ever seen. And the ending of the game came down. It was so close. There was this unit that kept getting slept and then coiled and slept and coiled, and it was perfect timing by the undead player, and he killed a hero. I think it was a Tauren chieftain who was trying to cast a shockwave onto a building to finish it off. It was the last undead building. It was absolutely amazing. You've probably some of you've probably seen the game. It was really, really good. But that is a threat, because if there's only one hero around and you can't staff him, if you don't have another hero with a staff or a town portal or something, then you do face that threat where they can just sit there and, you know, wait 7 seconds, cast coil, time their sleep perfectly so that the sleep hits right after the coil, and you can never actually TP out of that. And it's very difficult to do. And I don't even know, actually, if it might even be possible to TP out of that, perhaps, I don't know. But I've only ever seen it once, and it might have been one of those very interesting things. I don't have the replay anymore, unfortunately. I wish I did, and I don't know the game. But if I ever come across it again, I will definitely maybe even do a commentary on it, because that was such one of the... That's very much a crowned replay type of game. A very, very good game that I would like to go and back and revisit. And there's a lot of games like that that maybe I'll find out over the months, etc., coming months. That I might be able to find. Who knows? But anyway, so we're back into this game, and of course we can just see FAiL.Life. He's sitting here saying, oh, I'm going to come up, I'm going to attack into this. Oh, I'm going to use my Starfall, my ultimate move. Will you be able to cancel it with the Stormbolt? Where's that Mountain King? Where's the Mountain King? The Mountain King's so much right there in front of the Priestess, but there's no Stormbolt. There's no Stormbolt to actually cancel that. Was he silenced? Maybe he was silenced. He might have been silenced by the Dark Ranger. Gonna see another wonderful silence. This Starfall being absolutely so much damage being done by it. Of course, each one of these stars is doing 50 damage to one of those buildings, and you can just see that is so much damage, because each star 50 damage, each star 50 damage. That is a lot of damage. As you can see, so many of those buildings have died, and of course he's going to back off once it finishes. Of course, that's 4 buildings killed and a lot of damage done to these guys. And of course, yAwS had to be very careful. Now, yAwS saying, I'm going to be really smart here. I'm going to mass TP right behind your army, and I'm going to chase you down, sucker. You think you can just come into my base and cast Starfall and just, you know, go ahead and call in the moon gods or whatever and kill me? No way, Jose. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to force you to TP out. Will I get the Priestess of the Moon? No, he's going to pop a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and he's going to get out just fine. Scot-free, if you will. Scotch-free. I don't know what the saying is. Scotch or Scott, one of the two. But well, people say both, but there's one that's quote-unquote correct, the first one, the one that everything originated from, and then the other one kind of happened because people misinterpreted the first one. But I don't know what the ordering is. Anyway, so FiReDrAgOn's up here. He's like, you know what, I just don't like you, FAiL.Life. I'm going to cut down the trees in which your wisps are actually hibernating. Hibernation? I don't. Inhabiting. Yes, that's the word. I'm going to cut down the very trees in which your wisps are inhabiting. Inhabiting? I don't know. And FiReDrAgOn saying, you know, in fact, I'm going to do one better than that. I'm just going to come over here and kill him with my army as well and wipe those suckers out. Now, it's kind of crazy. FiReDrAgOn is still in the game. He's not really, quote-unquote, in the game. In fact, he's actually built a town hall, so maybe he still is working on getting some resources back up right there. And this is a base that Audigy, of course, tried to get several times in the game, and of course, yAwS kept denying it with really good play by yAwS. But Audigy still has a lot of stuff, and he hasn't really had to do a whole lot recently. Really, the other players have been the big players here. Of course, yAwS is going to have that Mount King TP at 169 HP. Very good play. And we're just going to see a little bit more of this fight going under the way. Of course, unfortunately, FAiL.Life simply can't fight this army. There's too many siege tanks, and they kill air just too good. It's too hard to kill them fast enough, really. And yAwS is going to TP back to his base, and he's going to cast, of course, mass teleportation. And down here, you can see Audigy. He's deciding to get more fiends in his army this time around. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe he had more fiends last time. I don't know. But let's look and see. FiReDrAgOn with 200 gold, not a lot. Not a lot of money at all. yAwS is sitting at 21,000 gold. Audigy is sitting at 28,000 gold. Absolutely insane. He's making a bunch of towers here, or at least ziggurats that he can turn into towers should he want to. Of course, we're going to see FAiL.Life TPing to this. I believe yAwS might have been trying to kill that with his army there. Looks like FiReDrAgOn's not going to be able to keep this expansion as FAiL.Life runs his Tree of Life into it. Again, FAiL.Life and FiReDrAgOn have just been at this the whole game, really just constantly going on one another's throats. Absolutely insane. Gonna have a peasant going down. FiReDrAgOn's so unhappy with the way this game's played out. He's just been screwed from the get-go. He's just, he's so unhappy. yAwS playing so well by canceling that early expansion. It really threw FiReDrAgOn into a terrible spin this game, and he's just not been able to do anything the whole game, mainly because of that. So yAwS really did a good job taking him out at the start. It wasn't the end of the game for him, but FiReDrAgOn kind of tilted a little bit, and yeah. And the problem with that, of course, Audigy and FAiL.Life are gonna fight. And again, Audigy's probably got the better heroes right now, 666 compared to 68. Well, maybe not. I don't know. 686. Oh, okay. Well, actually, the Dark Ranger gonna go down for FAiL.Life. Not good at all for him. He's gonna cast a wonderful Starfall. Unfortunately, it will get silenced pretty much immediately. But he has been sandwiched in by yAwS and Audigy, which is just so unfortunate because those are the two big players in the game, just trying to keep their positions in this game. And will this be the army that yAwS has that can actually beat Audigy in a fight? And it could be, but those tanks are kind of useless. They're just going to provide maybe a little bit of tanking, but they're not really, because they're not going to be high on the threat targets here. They're just not going to be something that Audigy's even attacking. They're just kind of blocking stuff. And he doesn't have any air units, so he doesn't really need to be worrying about that too much. First, the units in the back, I guess we'll try to go for the tanks, and we'll see that just a little bit here. But really, Audigy has what he wants. He has 666, and he also has the Inferno Stone. He's had that for a little while, which means he can cast down 2 Infernos for a very nice chain stun effect if he really wants to do that at some point. And, you know, he can always just go ahead and use his ultimate just for harassing and stuff like that, should he ever feel the need to, or maybe to defend an expansion. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Of course, yAwS saying, you know what, this is not an over fight. You're in a terrible spot, and I'm going to come back in from the back, and I'm just going to start nuking stuff down and killing it. Of course, here comes in his ultimate, not the Inferno Stone, but his ultimate itself, the Infernal, coming out and trying to do a little bit of damage here, trying to be really good. Of course, Audigy has been able to steal a Griffin Rider with Charm from the Dark Ranger, which really is going to put that, I think Dark Ranger could be really effective against yAwS. Of course, we're going to see yAwS trying to TP out of here with that Archmage before it dies. Very close to dying and losing him. As you can see, a lot of damage has happened to yAwS. And yAwS is sitting at 57 food, not quite 50, but he's not really mining too much gold either. Is he mining any gold? I don't think he is. In fact, yAwS is sitting on 0 gold mines, and we can see that Audigy has 1 gold mine right here. There is 2 siege engines trying to take it out. They look like they're going to be able to do that without really too much of an issue. And down here we can see yAwS trying to micro up, or trying to build down. Well, he takes out one of Audigy's gold mines, and with those 3 siege engines, and of course, try to build a town hall, but Audigy said, nope, not going to happen. Over here we can see FiReDrAgOn still in the game somehow with his heroes. Unfortunately, they are very low level heroes. They're not going to be very powerful. That's a level 5 Archmage. If it was level 6, that maybe would be a little more effective. Maybe if it was level 3 Paladin, it's a level 2 Paladin, and a level 4 Mountain King. So FiReDrAgOn, definitely the worst off player so far in the game. FAiL.Life over here, of course, we can see he's not doing terrible. Audigy actually has this gold mine over here, but FAiL.Life says, you know what, you can't have everything, Audigy. So I'm going to come over there while yAwS tries to take you on from over here. And it's very interesting to see because there's no way that Audigy can actually defend 2 players right now, even though FAiL.Life is very weak. So that might be something that Audigy looks into doing later on, is actually trying to take out good old FAiL.Life. But he will have to be very careful about that because he does constantly have to deal with yAwS. Of course, yAwS is going to force Audigy to TP right here, and that's really not good for Mr. Audigy because that means he's probably going to lose his base, and in fact, there's really nothing to stop Mr. yAwS from going ahead and killing all of that. And of course, Audigy has gone ahead and built a Necropolis right here, but there's still a siege engine right there, so you have to be really, really, really careful. Of course, FAiL.Life is scouting around, just saying, do you have that expansion over there? I mean, FAiL.Life still feels like he's in the game. I don't think he is. He doesn't have a whole big bank. He only has 4,000 gold. Not a very large army, sitting at 57 food. And of course, Audigy, like we said, 30,000 gold in the game. 58 food. He's going to go ahead and probably go up to 60, 70, maybe 80, maybe even 100 food, because really he's not mining right now. If you're not mining, I might as well go up to 100 food. There's really no reason for him not to. Of course, you can see FAiL.Life getting that Tree of Life. Why not? And this is one of those, it's just been crazy action all game long so far. Of course, we're going to see this Acolyte maybe going down. No, it looks like it's maybe, nope, a mass TP over here to this base, because of course we had FiReDrAgOn saying, I'm gonna do something, and I'm just gonna, you know, really be annoying. I'm just gonna be a pain in the butt, while everyone else is trying to fight around doing who knows what. Of course, we're gonna see that army is gonna run around. He's probably gonna lose this Mountain King unless he can staff it out. Does he have a staff? He doesn't have a staff. He does have the ability to TP out, and he might have to do just that, because of course you remember there's a Blink Dagger on this Mountain King, but actually, I don't know. I don't know where the Archmage is. There's the Archmage. He's actually got mass TPN. And the Mountain King just kind of out of mana, so he's gonna have to go ahead and kill some stuff. An Acolyte finally going down to a Griffin Rider is just saying, you know, I got a hammer. I'm gonna hammer. It's hammer time, and he killed the Acolyte. Over here. Just everybody's like all over in the same area right now, same general area. You can see FAiL.Life with this army up here running around the map saying, what am I going to do? And I think really though, unless this expansion can go up for FAiL.Life, if he gets this expansion up, if he mines out all of this gold at 9,000 gold, if he can get all of that, then FAiL.Life will still be in the game, but he really needs to do that. And of course the other problem is that FAiL.Life is very far away from these 3 expansions down here. We have this expansion, which has 3,400 gold left in it. We have this expansion with 12.8k, and this one with 9k. So if FAiL.Life can get all of this 9k right here and stop people from getting too much of this gold over here, maybe team up with one of the players, yAwS or Audigy, then maybe FAiL.Life can go ahead and win the game. He's still going to be down about 10k, 10,000 gold, but we'll see. Of course, yAwS was able to take out FiReDrAgOn's Archmage, which we just barely caught the tail end of that. Oh, how unfortunate. FiReDrAgOn running into Audigy's army, and he's going to lose that Paladin as well. And since the Mountain King is right now crippled, he's almost certainly going to lose that as well. Not only is he crippled, he was also slowed by the Frost Orb on the Dreadlord. Very, very crazy. And that could be pretty much the end of FiReDrAgOn. I do believe he's got no more units left. He could maybe remake the Paladin, but that would, I think maybe that would be the only thing he could do. And it was only level 2, so that's not going to be super effective. FAiL.Life over here, we can see Audigy trying to remake this expansion, but yAwS is going to come in here to deal with not only FAiL.Life's expansion that was right here, but also Audigy's expansion attempt. So yAwS is playing really, really well right there. I'm not sure what just happened to my voice, but I was like trying to crack my back a little bit. Yeah. That felt good. Over here we can see that Audigy's saying, well, you know what, if you're going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and come from behind you and try to take you out. Of course, we're going to see the Archmage staffing something out. Again, I didn't quite catch what it was. Level 7 on the Paladin, level 7 on the Mountain King, level 7 on the Archmage. Great hero levels right now for Mr. yAwS. Of course, we can see 6, 6, and 6 still on the good old undead heroes, but very close to level 7 on that Dreadlord. In fact, will we see a TP? Probably going to see a TP with the TP scroll. Very soon. He's trying to maybe kill some stuff, maybe a couple of meat wagons here and there before he TPs out. Maybe he won't even TP out at all. If he doesn't need to, why should he? But he looks like he will lose a... No, he's not going to lose a Spellbreaker. He will staff that, and he can lose these Water Elementals. It's not a huge deal. But one of those Water Elementals goes down, giving level 7 to the Dreadlord. And FAiL.Life, he's going to have to TP out of here pretty quickly, or he's going to lose something. If not to Mr. Audigy, but to one of these Storm Bolts or something coming in from yAwS. Just trying to snipe the last hits here. We're going to see that Dark Ranger for FAiL.Life getting out of there really quickly. He did go ahead and charm an Abomination from Audigy, but really it looks like that might just end up feeding Audigy a little bit of experience. No, it looks like it's actually going to get away. Very nice. And Audigy and yAwS are still going to fight. with a bunch of Abominations on the field and a Frost Worm coming in, 2 Frost Worms coming in. It looks like yAwS is not going to stand a chance against this army, and he's going to need to really back away. But of course, FAiL.Life is just saying, you know what, I'm going to keep on hitting you at your back every single time you go for yAwS, and it's really a good way to play the game. Just keep kind of whittling him down. And that's just the way to go. Now, we actually see, if you don't know what Unholy Frenzy does, it basically increases your attack rate by 75%, I think is what it is. I could be wrong. I think it's about 75%. Makes things attack very quickly. You can just see these Frost Worms, they both have it, and you can just see they go whoosh, whoosh. They attack very, very quickly, and that's going to be the forcing the Archmage to cast a real TP on out of there. Audigy might be feeding an Infernal over here to these guys. No, it looks like it won't. And that is that. So here we can see a nice coil onto the Infernal. He's just going to get out of there without too much of a problem. And he's going to be like, nope. Of course, FAiL.Life, oh, he's going to lose his Panda as he TPs out at the shop. Oh, so unfortunate for Mr. FAiL.Life. That is really bad for him because, again, he is still the lowest balling player in the game. Definitely in the worst situation possible. Audigy sitting at 25,000 gold, 66 food. yAwS sitting at 20,000 gold, 26 food. yAwS is not in a great spot either. Audigy is definitely looking like he's got the best bank. As you can see, 5,000 more gold than yAwS, but yAwS has done a good job because remember, a while ago, Audigy was sitting at 10,000 more gold than yAwS, with several more expansions. So yAwS has done a really, really good job playing this game, and of course, again, there's really no way he's going to stop playing so well. You know, he can keep making tanks, he can keep making siege engines, but the big concern is probably going to be that we do have a couple of Frost Worms and a couple of Meat Wagons on the field. Once you get to that, it becomes very difficult to actually go ahead and kill to actually go ahead and keep on being a tank user, you know, keep sending tanks everywhere. Now you can do that if the undead's really spread out, but if the undead says, I'm going to put one base here, and I'm going to just keep you from expanding until this mine's out, and then I'm going to come over here and put one base here, and keep you from expanding, and then until that mine's out, then take one base here, and keep you from expanding, etc. That can actually, it's very difficult for the humans to deal with that, but because it doesn't work. He's gonna have to play a different strategy rather than just, you know, the send tanks everywhere and use my army everywhere. It just doesn't work out too well against this undead army. Of course, FAiL.Life is in a bad spot here. He's gonna have to TP the Stark Ranger probably. In fact, he slept, so he's probably sitting here spamming the town portal button right there. Of course, the Meat Wagon ended up waking him up with the splash damage. So there you go. It happens. And FAiL.Life, he just has to be really careful because again, he's got very little gold. Getting that Panda back out, he had to alter revive it. It just, you know, he had to. And there you go. I mean, he can probably could defend his base. He's got Moonwells. He doesn't have a very large army. It just depends. You know, if Audigy attacked him with a 100 food army, there'd be really no chance, even at those Moonwells. It just wouldn't matter. And it looks like Audigy's going straight for the 100 food. He doesn't really care about getting gold right now. He knows he's very unlikely to be able to take an expansion for at least a little while. So just go ahead, go to 100 food. And of course, yAwS is sitting at 30 food, so that's a tiny, tiny food bank, and there's really not a lot of towers in any particular place. So really, yAwS is really weak. He's incredibly weak, in fact. And maybe he's trying to play a manip play here. Maybe he wants to see if he can get FAiL.Life to team up with him to try to take out Audigy. He's like, hey, look, I only have a little bit of gold. You know, I've got a small army. I've had to spend all my gold. But maybe they won't. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, Mr. yAwS does have max TP, as was pointed out by Lightweight. Lightweight actually made it to the finals of the FFA tournament that was held just like, I think, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. I think it was actually maybe even 3 or 4 weeks, I don't know. And he made it to the finals. He was a really good FFA player too. And what he's saying is true. You really just need to go up to 100 food as yAwS and just mass TP around the map and just abuse the fact that you have mass TP and teleports and just kill all the buildings, you know. Of course, problem is that Audigy, if he's sitting at his base, you can't really do that. But you can do that for everybody else, and you can put up expansions, and he has to move around. Of course, yAwS getting this one expansion up, or at least working on it, and of course, Audigy working in this one expansion up. So both players are trying to finally take an expansion. And we'll see what happens. It looks like a fight might come underway. This is not a fight yAwS can even remotely come close to winning. He's so far outnumbered, and this is such a good army from Audigy. So we're going to see a silence coming in, and we're going to see, in fact, an Infernal being called down. I believe that was, yes, just he still has the item. He's kept that item all game long. Really good. Of course, the town portal came in just before that Infernal came in with the stun. So really good play by yAwS. As always, that's what you would expect. And yAwS is not going to be able to get an expansion up right now. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen at all. And that's going to go down. Of course, Audigy, he's not going to get an expansion up either. It looks like it's been denied by FAiL.Life. So FAiL.Life still being a player in the game. You know, he still wants to do damage, he still wants to be annoying, and he wants to make it so. Now, really, the interesting thing right now is that if yAwS went ahead and fought with, yeah, well, you can actually see that Audigy is saying, listen, let's just kill Red, because this guy is being a little bit annoying. He's very unhappy because FAiL.Life just keeps taking out this expansion, and yAwS doesn't really want Red out of the game because he keeps taking out this expansion. Red is actually an asset for Yellow. And yeah, there's the manip coming in from yAwS. I knew it was coming. He's playing with a small army. He's got 18,500 gold. You know, he's just so much money. He's saying, "Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I can't take out Red. What do you mean? I can't." You know, and so Red's gonna keep thinking, you know what? I am gonna keep on attacking. I am gonna keep on working down on Audigy. If we can take out Audigy, then maybe I'll have a chance against yAwS. Maybe. But this is just really clever play by yAwS, and. Because of course, you know, yAwS probably knows, he scouted the fact that, you know, Audigy was sitting there with a ton of gold expansions, a ton of money coming in without a very big army, so he knew right early on in the game, he knew that Audigy was making a lot more money. But even then, even still, yAwS has been able to even this up so much. Of course, you can see that Mr. Audigy is sitting at 21,000, and yAwS is sitting at, he's actually started to make some tanks now. And the question is, will he hide those tanks? No, he's gone for the manip. You know, there's a very good chance that Audigy and FAiL.Life both believe that yAwS doesn't have a lot of money because of the fact that he was playing with that 30 food army for so long that he might actually be able to just go ahead and have convinced them that he doesn't have a whole lot of money right now. So we're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to go ahead and wait and see. And of course, Blue very unhappy in the game still. Now, FAiL.Life is very much in a little bit of trouble. Oh, he's going to lose that Priestess of the Moon and the Dark Ranger right here. He's going to be trying to TP out of that. Will he lose the Panda as well? Perhaps. No, he won't. The TP goes off. Audigy's going to be very happy that he killed at least one of those heroes, but he knows that this is still not safe until everything up there has died. So he really wants to go ahead and take out FAiL.Life as fast as he possibly can. Question is, will FAiL.Life go and risk it and try to take this out? If he risks it, he probably could actually, but it just depends on whether Audigy is going to come over here or not. And in fact, if Audigy does come over here, and FAiL.Life, all he has to do is say, hey, listen, yAwS, Audigy's attacking me, and then really, it's very feasible that yAwS would come down here and try to do some damage to Audigy's main base, and he's got a lot of tanks, so he could do a lot, and that would actually force Mr. Audigy to come back to his main base and keep FAiL.Life in the game, so it's very interesting to see how this plays out. But we'll have to wait and see, we'll have to wait and see, we'll have to know what's going to happen.
The town is under siege.
Oh, some water. It's so good. Of course, actually, I was gonna speed up just a little bit. Well, one you can see FAiL.Life, he's saying, hey, listen, he's attacking my main now, that's what we wanted, that's the cue. And one of the observers just said, hey, there's no critter in Audigy's base. And that's a good point, because you can TP to mass TP the critters, so yAwS could potentially TP into this base if there's a critter nearby, but of course if Audigy's done a good job, he's definitely prevented that. I don't even know if yAwS even tried to critter into that, I don't know. But here comes this fight underway, Audigy versus FAiL.Life. This is a fight that is going to be very difficult for FAiL.Life to win. I'm going to go ahead and see him charm a Frostworm. That's going to just probably get taken out. He could just charm it back if he wanted to. He might have charmed something else, so I don't know what he charmed exactly, or if he's even charmed anything just yet. Maybe he wants to prefer to use his mana on silences, I don't know. But this is a fight. This is actually not going as well for Audigy as I thought it would. I think he's still going to win without a problem, but he has lost a lot just of stuff in general. He's trying to keep his micro up, trying to keep everything going up just fine right here, trying to not lose too much more than what he's already lost. But these Chimeras, they do a good job of clearing out summons. Actually going to see a Starfall coming in. Now, where is the Dreadlord? That's the real question. The Dreadlord, and it looks like he got slept, so that's unfortunate. I can't still say. Ah, they was up in the base a little bit. There was. If you keep your Dark Ranger and your Dreadlord separated, it's really hard to actually get any kind of stuff like that, any channels off or anything. But hey, it looks like that bottom is actually going to get staffed over back to his base. 149 life. There isn't really a lot he can do. Use one Moonwell to kind of heal up just a little bit. But again, Audigy is simply overwhelming him at this point. yAwS is running across the map with a massive army. And in fact, this is another way to play the game. Maybe you don't want to go ahead and say, well, I'll try to kill your base. Maybe you just want to say, well, you think I'm out of money. You think that you can just go and invest a full-on attack into FAiL.Life's base, and then I'm going to come in with this massive army. Look at this inner-fired, full-on army, super scary army, very, very deadly, very lethal, and Audigy's not going to be be prepared for this. There's going to be zero chance that Audigy can actually defend this. We can see Audigy sitting at 70 food and yAwS sitting at 100 food with a very scary army. He has a ton of tanks. Unfortunately, for FAiL.Life, yAwS was kind of slow getting across the map, and Audigy was kind of fast at coming in here and clearing out FAiL.Life's base and his army. And it looks like that means FAiL.Life has now been wiped off the map. Pretty much, he has a Dark Ranger out still, and about 1,300 gold, but really not much else. Pretty much his whole army is dead. And at this point, yAwS, he's not even showing his main army right here. He's just showing a tiny little force. Again, manipulating Mr. Audigy. We can look from Audigy's point of view. He hasn't seen anything. This is all he's seen. He hasn't seen the tanks. He hasn't seen all those griffins. All he sees is a small little force from yAwS. So he might not even think that he's even that big of a deal. He might say, I'm just going to TP down here and defend this. Or maybe he won't. But now we can actually see with these towers, you can say, oh man, there's the big force, there's the big scary force, and this is going to be really, really difficult for Audigy to actually deal with. He can maybe do it. There's a lot of towers right here, and he does have a bit of an army right here as well. But Audigy's going to have to come back very quickly. He has 97 food, but he needs to come back as soon as possible to deal with this army. Otherwise, he's going to lose all those towers. There's the TP. And in fact, we're going to see this fight going underway right now. We can actually see a siege engine attacking from the low ground on those the towers right there. And this wonderful blizzard, unfortunately, when you TP like that, it just groups all these units up, and you can just see how the blizzard's so good against that. And he's in the background. It's a very long-range cast, as you can see right there, and it makes it very difficult to actually stop it. And in fact, let's just turn off the bars there for just a second. Look at that, absolutely insane. So many units going on. But this fight, it's caused Audigy a lot of problems so far. And in fact, do you have that Furbolg? The Paladin actually died. Apparently, that's not good for yAwS. And in fact, but it did cause Audigy to summon out his Furbolg Ursa Warrior. Super crazy good unit. You can just see his Thunderclap, a couple other really cool spells and stuff. Really nice unit. And he is just crazy good. Just crazy good. Crazy good. But anyway, over here we can see FAiL.Life actually saying, you know what? I'm not out of the game. I'm not at all out of the game. I'm building a Tree of Life over here, which has been a pretty, all these gold mines have been pretty uncontested for just a little while. This one was up, I guess yAwS didn't kill it, and FAiL.Life said, I'm going to come over there with my Dark Ranger. Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll make something happen. Not really going to happen. And in fact, it looks like Audigy running in with the sleep. There's very unlikely to see that this guy's going to go down. And he actually kind of screwed up there. He tried to cast Thunderclap when... Did he really just use a... What? Oh, jeez. He used the stone. I think did he use... Maybe that wasn't the stone. I hope that wasn't the stone. Oh, please. I don't know. Well, he cast his Infernal to stun him, and I don't know. But, yeah, he really, really wanted to kill this dude. Like I said, it might not have been the stone. It might have just been his ultimate. He might have used the stone earlier in this fight. Very likely, very possible. Is that a War Stomp or a Thunderclap? I think it's a Thunderclap, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. We'll see. Anyway, so the Dark Ranger running away. He's running away. He's really, really, really trying to do something with this big old Ursa Warrior. Maybe get it off right now. Maybe we'll see. Will he get it? Will he get it? Yeah, there's... Actually, it's a War Stomp. It's not a Thunderclap. My bad. This is a staff out. Oh, there's no sleep, though. It wasn't quite enough mana. He needed 50 to take him out with the sleep. But anyway, over here we can see yAwS. He's been able to scout FAiL.Life's expansion, and, he's like, oh, well, this is not good for me, as the good old yAwS TPs in, takes out the Dark Ranger. But that does mean that FAiL.Life will take 3rd place in this game. Of course, we had FiReDrAgOn, right? FiReDrAgOn was our 4th place victor. Well, loser, I guess. Yeah, losers. Everyone wins. It's FFA. Everyone wins. So FiReDrAgOn was our 4th place winner, and good old FAiL.Life was our 3rd place winner. And so what's going to come down to is Audigy versus yAwS to determine the 1st and 2nd place winners. And that's going to be. So it's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Because yAwS is sitting at 10,000 gold. He's at 72 food, and Audigy is sitting at 17,000, 18,000 gold, really, and 80 food. So it definitely looks like Audigy's in the lead. But will yAwS be able to pull out something crazy to make this become a little bit more in his favor? We'll have to wait and see. He did some good manipulation earlier to try to convince everyone that he was a little bit low on gold. Unfortunately, it looks like no one really went for it. And so this is how we have it. And arguably, arguably, yAwS kind of screwed himself over just a little bit, I'd say, because he did actually put himself in. He could have attacked Audigy when Audigy was attacking FAiL.Life, like right as that happened, but he just took too long, and that meant that FAiL.Life died. And when FAiL.Life died, that definitely was a blow, I think, for yAwS. Really, believe it or not, because FAiL.Life was doing a good job harassing Audigy all game long, and really, this is a very difficult for yAwS to get to. Very difficult for yAwS to get to, but with Audigy, it's very easy. Actually, let's see, is he on a wood? Oh, wow. Ooh, Audigy actually has, like, no wood at all. He's got 16,565 gold, but only 253 wood, and he's got no trees. He's got no trees down here, so he's got no wood access. He needs to take another expansion. He needs to do something, get to one of these bases so he can start getting wood, because if he runs out of, I mean, if he loses this army, if yAwS is able to kill this army, and yAwS stops this, then Audigy won't be able to rebuild. All he'll be able to do is make maybe some ghouls, you know. So the question is, does yAwS capitalize? Does yAwS realize that, hey, he's got no wood? If he has no wood, he's as good as out of resources, and yAwS can just sit there and flood units and actually win the game right now. He could easily do that. He's got 9,000 gold. He could throw 2 armies at this dude, no problem, and he would actually be able to win him just because of the simple fact that Audigy would have no way to remake any units. He would just simply be out of wood here, out of gold, yeah, out of wood. Even though he's got tons of gold, and Audigy would actually lose the game with like not 12,000. He would lose the game with like 15,000 gold in his bank. That would be really unfortunate. So we're gonna have to see, will yAwS capitalize on that? Has he noticed? Does he notice? Does he think about the fact that this is a very, very wood-heavy map? It's very difficult to keep wood, especially as an undead player. Will we see these goals over here? There are goals over here. Now, Audigy, if yAwS just sees that, if he just says, oh, there's goals over there, then he'll know, maybe. But maybe he won't. Maybe he's going to come over to this main base and try to kill production. Maybe not. There are a lot of towers. Of course, these ziggurats are not going to turn into towers anytime soon. It would just be too much wood. He can't afford the wood whatsoever. And in fact, he's going to mass TP back over here to this base. I feel like yAwS just might not be realizing the potential of an all-out attack right now. If he just... Oh, but could he win an all-out attack? That's the other question, because yAwS has 78 food out of 100. And Audigy has 90 food out of 100. It looks like that moment of that potential possibility there has passed, you know. And Audigy's actually been able to secure some wood income, but he's also secured some gold income. So this is going to be very interesting. We're going to have to see what yAwS is going to do. And in fact, we're just going to go ahead and go to 4x speed as we kind of wait and see how things are going to play out. Maybe he'll go down for the harass. Maybe he won't. Up. Oh, he's going to come in here and try to kill some stuff, but Audigy's going to TP in as well, and he's going to just go ahead and resign himself to using a teleport scroll to get out of here, trying to take out this gold mine. As he does a good job doing so, and perhaps even all of these acolytes. No, one will live. But the big issue, of course, is these goals. The goals are the much bigger issue, even though if he might not realize it. But this is simply not a map that you can just get thousands and thousands of wood on, unless you're mining everywhere, which really... to be fair, Audigy probably should have not. He probably should have mined at this base as the least possible that he could have, just to prevent that from being a concern. You know, once he got his first expansion up, really, he probably should have. Actually, there's not really a lot of wood there, but he could have. Yeah, that would have been too. Yeah, he could have been mining from this though a long time. He did. Wow. Yeah, so wood's been a major concern. He's played pretty well with it actually, and it's just really difficult to get wood on this map. So. In the late game, but oh, I didn't even see this from yAwS. He's got a ton of Griffin Riders right here. Wow, this makes him look like he's got a much better chance than I realized. And in fact, he's going to lose some siege engines, it would look like, while these guys go to town over here, just taking out buildings and stuff. And really, once again, Audigy's actually back into a situation where he doesn't have any wood. And this looks better and better for yAwS. Better and better for yAwS, absolutely. There's really, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's really no reason for yAwS to fight, I feel like, because there's a bunch of Crypt Fiends, and maybe he can lose stuff, and why fight if you don't have to? You know, you can just take out buildings all game long, no problem. But he's just gonna say, you know what? No, I'm gonna fight, which is a little bit crazy. I guess he's doing it because he's got this. Again, he's maybe gonna lose this, which. Sorry, I thought I heard someone knocking. Yeah, he might lose this. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing here, but he's actually still fighting, which I think might be a wrong move here. What's the point of fighting? I don't know. But he is doing a good job, really, with the fighting. I guess that's one concern is, too, the charm coming in from the undead player. He's, you know, possibly being able to whittle down the human player. But again, the undead player is actually out of wood right now. Really, he's spent his last 300 wood, I would imagine, by now. Maybe not, but he's very low on wood either way. He doesn't have any wood income, so all that gold he has, the best he can do is buy items. Which, I mean, granted, he's got pretty good heroes, but it's just not that great. I don't know. He's gonna have to be very careful about not getting nuked to death. He needs to make sure if he does fight, he has to fight. And that's really the only thing he can do here. I mean, I feel this is really crazy though to me. It's really crazy. I mean, he does have a great army. The Griffin Riders are really strong, but you know, he's going blow for blow, which I don't know. Let's see. In fact, he's gonna mass TP out of here, and I'm not sure he's probably I'm not sure where he's TP'd, but let's see. Audigy is down to 57 food, and yAwS is up to 73 food. So actually, it went pretty well for yAwS. Very strong heroes between the Blizzard and the Thunderclaps and the Holy Lights. Just really, really strong heroes right there. You know, it's one of those things. For me, I always wonder, I always say, is it really worth fighting right there in that position? Because he was actually at the lead. Once he took out this, he could have just sat there and, oh, he didn't actually take this out. He actually abandoned taking this out. See, that I don't understand. He could have totally taken this out. This was the only wood income for Audigy, and that's going to be so important going forward in the game. You can just see, I mean, how much wood has he got during that? That was a long fight, really. And this ghoul, really yAwS, I think, would have been much better off, much better served, instead of taking that fight, just taking out this necropolis, killing these ghouls, and preventing any kind of income coming in good from yAwS. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't know. This is definitely not a fight Audigy wants to be taking just yet. But we'll have to wait and see. Is yAwS going to come over here and take this out? He might come over here and take this out. Someone asked what this acolyte is. This is actually an acolyte. You can barely see it, but it's an acolyte right there. It's been there for quite some time. He could try to build up a gold mine, but he doesn't really have the money, really the wood to afford it. Especially because yAwS, if he builds that up, yAwS is just going to come over there and definitely kill it. And, you know, yAwS may not realize just how important that wood is for a little while. And so if he doesn't, as long as there's no gold mine there, every time he scouts over, he might say, it's not really worth my time to go over and kill. Even though it would totally be. But we're going to see yAwS now TPing out once again. He's just kind of like losing units here. He's hemorrhaging units. And really he needs to either go for an all-out fight where he commits to the fight, I think, or just not fight the fight at all, because he's going to get charmed to death. He's going to get nuked to death. And that's just going to really, really be bad for yAwS. And again, he just needs to kill this. This is so important that he kills this. I can't believe I cannot believe he's letting this live. This is insane. Let's go into 4x speed when the players aren't near each other, because, man. But, I mean, he's got a great army. He's got control of the fountains in the middle of the map. And now we're going to see each player talking about how much money they have. And this is another prime stage for manipulation. You know, yAwS says, I have 12k gold. He has 3k gold. He does not have 12k gold. But if he can demoralize Audigy into just coming out of his base and, you know, just saying, you know what, maybe I will fight him. You know, this is not a thing that's going to happen. I mean, maybe it did. Maybe it did work, actually. Maybe Audigy will come out. He's got 96 food, and Audigy knows he has 12k gold as well, so he says, okay, well, if he has 12k, if I have 12k, I will come out. I will go ahead and try to take another fight. You know, and we'll just keep on keep going this down, because really what Audigy needs in this game, what he really need is what he really needs is to actually go into a position where it's very low economy versus very low economy, or where Audigy has a lot of gold versus yAwS with very low gold. And maybe he knows it, maybe he doesn't, but that's actually the situation he's in, and he can just go ahead and take these fights. And Audigy is going to come out well in the end, because if yAwS doesn't have a massive army, then he can just charm him to death very easily. So that's going to be the main concern that yAwS needs to keep in mind, and that's why I find maybe fighting might be a little bit crazy. But he knows he can win the fights, but he needs to actually take out heroes to do anything, to really make any kind of headway in this game. And that's going to be a little bit harder to do. Of course, really doing a great job with these Blizzards, actually really screwing up all of the positioning that Audigy has and forcing him to constantly run away. But of course, like I said, Audigy, he really just wants to wear him down. And again, also when you consider that Audigy has so much more money, he's not really too concerned about, you know, even if he doesn't take the most efficient fights, because he just needs to get that army count as low as possible that yAwS has. And that allows him to just charm in those Griffin Riders. And every time he charms a Griffin Rider, even if yAwS kills it, it doesn't matter, he's killing one unit. And that's just really powerful. And there's another charm on the Griffin Riders once again. And he's got a Brilliant Sword, he's got the Khadgar's Pipe of Insight, really powerful item, very potent on that Dark Ranger. And of course, we're going to see an Inferno coming in here. And this is a fight yAwS can't win, so he's going to have to TP right on out of there. And in fact, that's fine for him. And of course we can see that yAwS is slowly running down lower and lower in gold count. Very low on wood right now as well, but it's not really a very big concern because he does have some wood coming in, some wood economy, not too bad. And of course, I mean, Audigy, he's doing just fine as well. He's going to put up this haunted gold mine right now. There's nothing that can really be done about that. Of course, yAwS, he's actually trying to build up his own town hall right here, and maybe we'll see a little bit of a longer game going on. Of course, that's been scouted by Mr. Audigy with the shade, but down here we actually have a flying machine that scouts this as well. So both players knows what's up. And of course, you know, really yAwS wants to keep the fight on this side of the map. There's an expansion right here for the undead player. His expansion's over here. He doesn't want the undead player going anywhere near him. And yAwS's mobility is much, much better. Now, I'm not sure what... Oh yeah, he used his ultimate actually on the Paladin right there, which allows him to revive units and get them back for free. I don't know if he actually was able to get any. He probably did get some, which is always good. And he can actually counter that, I'm pretty sure, by using a meat wagon just to pick up all the corpses, but I'm not sure if that actually happened or not. You can see, unfortunately for Audigy, he's got all those wood goals right there. They actually died while they were collecting wood from those trees. So he's going to have to make more goals, and in fact, that's exactly what he's going to do. He needs more wood. He's just so low on wood. He's got 10k gold, but only 174 wood, and that's just absolutely really a big shame. And in fact, I don't think he got to cancel on that haunted gold mine, so he didn't get very much wood out of that. And we can see the Inferno coming over here, trying to do some damage. Actually done quite a bit of damage, just standing there in the peasant line, the immolation, killing those peasants, and right-clicking the town hall, doing a lot of damage. And that's going to be the way that Audigy kind of harasses this probably going forward. But that's on a very long cooldown, and also if he's using this, then he's not using it during a fight, but that might have been used in the last fight. I doubt it because it's been quite some time. Let's go ahead and go into 4x speed for just a little bit here. We're going to see him mass TPing around the map, just, you know, probably trying to get closer to these fountains right here, and that's what he's going to do. And just go ahead and say, let's go ahead and heal up. Mass TP, where is he mass TPing to this time? Not over here. Over here. I'm not sure what he's doing. Over here we can see that some ghouls are up here. Looks like he wants just to build an Acropolis there just so he can get some wood. That's actually really, really good because there's a decent chance that that won't get scouted and he's going to have a bunch of ghouls just sitting there getting lots of wood in the game. And that's exactly what he needs. He needs that, so that's actually a really clever play coming in from Audigy. And in fact, we're going to go back down to 1x speed. And really, let's look at the counts, resource counts. We can see Audigy sitting at 8,538 gold compared to yAwS' 661 gold. So unfortunately, yAwS is not playing as cost efficiently as he needs to. But again, and this is really getting into that position that Audigy really wants, where he can keep fighting inefficiently if he needs to. It doesn't really matter. He has charm. He can just keep winning the game just by killing units via charm. That's his, or via charm, even. So that's really what he needs to do. And the Blizzard, it's very strong, it's very good, and so you know yAwS is going to keep winning these fights, but again, as long as Audigy doesn't end up out of the game, he's really winning the fights. And in fact, here we're going to see another Inferno coming in. Just keep on using it, and this is a great thing about the Inferno, because even if this fight goes, even if yAwS runs away, he can use this Inferno just to come over there and deal with it over there. Deal with that base just a little bit harassy, but he can't go solo with it, can he? I mean, I guess he can if he wants to. He's gonna run his Death Knight over to coil it? No, he's not gonna. He's just gonna let it die. I'm not sure why he didn't just kill those flying machines. He could have. I guess he doesn't really care too much. It's not a huge deal. And yAwS gonna get level 10 on the Archmage. Really nice, very powerful Archmage. Lots of HP. But there's really not a lot to be considered right now. This is just a really unfortunate situation. yAwS is really just kind of being worn down by Audigy. The power of the undead slowly overcoming everything, and he's probably gonna get into a really, really good position the longer this game goes. Unless he was that Dreadlord, maybe. Oh, the Dreadlord goes down. Really nice nuking by yAwS. yAwS saying I'm not out of this just yet. He's like, how dare you doubt me? And yAwS gonna go ahead and try to and maybe make something happen. Focus down the Death Knight. There is a TV on the Death Knight, but we'll have to wait and see. And looks like Audigy's actually going to TP right on out of here, and yAwS going to preserve this base. Very nicely done by him, very nicely played. And if Audigy can just keep playing like that, then maybe he actually can win. But he needs to actually go ahead and make sure that Dark Ranger does not screw him over, because that Dark Ranger is still a very big concern, and he's got a lot of low HP right now. He's got all this Disease Cloud on his units. He probably needs to come straight over here to these fountains and heal up just a little bit, because there's a decent chance Audigy won't want to fight until he gets that Mr. Dreadlord back out. Because that Dreadlord provides sleep, and it's just, and Carrion Swarm, which is a nuke, it's really, really good. So we're gonna have to wait and see just what happens, but yeah, that was really good play so far coming in from yAwS. Of course, Audigy still has a huge bankroll. Still has 6,700 gold. yAwS very low on gold himself, but again, he does have an expansion right now, so he is actually getting gold, which pretty good. It's pretty good for him. And so I guess that's the other question. Does Audigy try to wait? Does Audigy say, maybe I'll wait for my Dreadlord? Because if he waits for this Dreadlord, it's going to take quite some time to come back out. It's going to give plenty of time for yAwS to heal all the way up. And the other concern, really, is what will Audigy end up doing? Does he go for this expansion? Because he can go for this expansion, but if he does, if yAwS doesn't fight him, maybe he could go for this base. If he kills this Black Citadel and maybe this Necropolis, then it's going to be a lot harder for Audigy to actually win the game if he can't TP back to this base. Because then, you know, you could just see Blizzard harassing. So even though Audigy could technically win in terms of the army count, could win in terms of the resource count, he's only got one base, really. He's got a Necropolis here, but really he's got this one base. And if they go into a base race scenario, there's really no way that yAwS is going to lose that with Mass Teleport. It's such a good ability, and that's kind of what's going to happen if Audigy decides to go for this. And that might be something that Audigy decides to do if he actually believed yAwS when yAwS said he had 12k gold. Because if he thinks that was true, then he's probably thinking, oh, yAwS has 5k gold, and he's got an army, and he's got an expansion. This is gonna be very interesting to see whether or not that manip from yAwS worked. We're just gonna have to wait and see. It was somewhat believable, wasn't it? It was, but I don't know if it was believable enough. Anyway, so here comes another fight. I still don't agree with yAwS fighting right now. At this point, I think it might not be the best move, but we'll just have to see what happens. And you know, either at least he's committing to it. He's not like, you know, he's not saying let's skirmish. He's going to commit to it. Now Audigy's actually going to TP, which is intriguing. Is he doing better than I realized? He might be doing better than I realized. No, I mean, it looks like maybe just getting a different position. It was 350 gold to do that. I don't know. But yAwS is definitely not going to win that fight, and he's going to back off, and he doesn't have a lot of stuff right now. In fact, he lost so much in that fight. That might not have been a very good move whatsoever. I don't know what he's going to do right now. He's got a lot of hero levels. You know, he's working on level 10 on the Paladin, about to get it. But again, I don't know. He did actually go ahead and cast the ultimate from the Paladin, the Revive, which allows him to get a bunch of those Spellbreakers back. But there's so many summons on the map right now. I don't. It's not looking too great for Mr. yAwS. He's gonna have to be really clever about this. He's gonna have to play really, really well to be able to win this game, I think. Level 10 being picked up by the Paladin. This isn't a bad force. You can't really be, you know, the charm. It's just so good. The Dark Ranger actually going to get coiled very, very low to close to dying. Will it go down? Potentially could go down, but there's not really enough mana on the Mountain King to chase him. He had enough for a Storm Bolt, but didn't have enough for the combo of the Blink Dagger and the Storm Bolt, and so that's just going to end up going that way. We'll go for the Storm Bolt once again on the Mr. Dark Ranger. Where is the Death Knight? The Death Knight's plenty in range, and he's going to go ahead and coil him. And we're going to see yAwS is probably going to have to go ahead and cast a TP to get on out of here. Yeah, he's going to. Which is not good. It's not good for him whatsoever. And Audigy once again kind of taking the lead. As you can see, it's going to get 85 food with 5,000 gold and at this point 2,000 wood. This was such a clever idea, such a good investment. He's got so many ghouls up here, just getting loads and loads of wood. Absolutely loads of wood. But down here we can see that. See, this is an issue. yAwS has got 2,000 gold. You know, he kind of wanted to go into no upkeep. I guess I can see what he wanted. He wanted to go into no upkeep, and he wanted to. Oh, I think he needed to do a lot better in that fight though than what he did. I don't know. The question is, the big issue really is that there's a shade right here that can see, oh, I think yAwS might have been bluffing. yAwS might not have had 12,000 gold. Let's go ahead and go into 4x speed. And this is going to definitely be an issue. This could be a base race situation once again. And if this goes into base race situation, which I think is what yAwS has to do at this point, I don't see how he can really fight the armies that Mr. Audigy is going to be able to throw out. But the big issue, of course, is that, yeah, it looks like he's going to fight him. I don't know why. He's going... I don't know. I guess it's because he doesn't have to worry about the charm, but again, he's kind of got to worry about this massive army. He's got summons. Summons are good, I guess. I mean, they are. Nukes and summons, I guess that's what it is. He's going to rely on nukes and summons, and if he does that well enough, then he can actually go ahead and maybe kill a lot of these units and get it into hero versus hero. And if he gets it to hero versus hero, he's definitely going to win, just because of the fact that this is one of the strongest tri-hero combinations in the game. The Archmage, Paladin, Mountain King. It's so very good. It's definitely better, in my opinion at least, than the Undead's tri-hero. It's got a lot more damage output. It's a lot scarier. But he's going to have to be really careful. He's trying to go for the Dreadlord. Will he be able to kill the Dreadlord? Staffs out the Archmage. Going to kill the Dreadlord. The Dreadlord goes down. Level 10 hero down. Is yAwS turning this around? Once again, he could very well be Wow, what a game. And we're going to see him staffing units out, just trying to preserve as many units as he possibly can. Does not want to lose any of these units. And, wow, I mean, just crazy, absolutely crazy. As yAwS gets chased away, but Audigy took that time to build an expansion. So maybe Audigy's not out of this game just yet after losing that Dreadlord. And of course, he can always rebuild the Dreadlord, so it's not a huge deal. He's got 3 altars just in case he lost all of his heroes. Not a bad idea, really, though. I'm not sure why where is he? Is he got another altar somewhere? What's he doing? Where is he? Is he just not reviving the Dreadlord yet? He's definitely going to revive the Dreadlord. What? Well, who knows? yAwS has 46 food compared to Audigy's 98 food. 98 food? Where's he got 98 food at? What? Oh, he's got a huge army in his base. I wasn't even looking. Well, again, I would say, you know, the Undead's in a good spot, really, though. I mean, he did lose the Dreadlord, but he does have an expansion. He's got lots of wood. He's got plenty of resources. yAwS, of course, still kind of small army. I mean, really, Audigy's got twice the army size, so he doesn't have his Dreadlord, which is going to make it very difficult. If he fights without his Dreadlord, I would probably just expect to see him just sacrifice this. I mean, there's no... as long as he knows the size of yAwS's army, but maybe not. I mean, if he knows the size, then he might fight this. But fighting Tri-Hero without Tri-Hero could be a terrible idea, but we'll have to see. Will that army advantage actually be enough to make up for this? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's a huge army. Of course, the Malkin could blink into the center of all of that. We could see, you know, a big thunderclap and a big blizzard, and it might actually, you know, can take out a lot of those skeletons very quickly, very easily. But will it be enough? Again, I don't know. I think maybe the best option is to actually go for the Death Knight, because if he takes that bad boy out, then he's going to be in a bit of trouble. But I heard he does have that potion of lesser invulnerability. He's going to go ahead and pop that, and unfortunately, he's got a big old cripple on the Paladin. You're going to see a Divine Shield coming in, and once again, we're going to see that Death Knight getting a little bit focused, but he will actually get TPing right on out of here as the Blizzard goes ahead and hits a lot of those Necromancers, and Audigy's lost his expansion. There's really no two ways about it. The question is, will we see yAwS go ahead and kill this Necropolis? Maybe kill these skeletons. Maybe kill the Haunted Gold Mine. It's going to come in here and cast up a good old Reviveration to get those Spellbreakers back into his army while he kills out these things. And of course, Blizzard, you can use Blizzard as much as you want with Spellbreakers. It doesn't hurt the Spellbreakers. Hurts your heroes a little bit, but not a massive amount. Doesn't really matter too much. And actually, over here we can see Audigy bringing some ghouls to go ahead and do some damage. And we're going to see yAwS saying, "No way, Jose! All of those guys are going to die." I'm going to take down all of those guys, but it was a good enough distraction, but unfortunately, it saved the Haunted Gold Mine, didn't quite save the Necropolis, but he can always make more Acolytes to send those guys over there. It's just going to take him a little while, but not bad. I mean, it would have been interesting to see him wait to TP, you know, just kill this, because this wouldn't have taken too long to kill, but who knows. Of course, if we look down here, we can see Audigy is sitting at 85 food with 1,600 gold. Now, the cool thing is that yAwS, realistically, he could be long distance mining from one of these places, but we're not seeing any of that happening. Of course, Audigy is got lots of scouting going on, lots of good scouting, in fact, lots of good intel, and it's crazy. It's crazy, this game. I don't know who's going to win. It really could go either way, but I do think Audigy's in the lead, and he should have his Tri-Hero back out at this point. Does he? Let's see. Death Knight, Dark Ranger, Dreadlord. I want to peg Audigy as the guy who's got the advantage right now. 87 food, 1,284 gold compared to 46 gold and 48 food. But again, I do think yAwS has the better Tri-Hero, and I mean, really, I don't know. Audigy, I feel like Audigy should win the game. I feel like he should. He's the one thing that his army's really good at. His Tri-Hero is really good. He's got that high level Dark Ranger, which allows him to keep charming stuff, and that is just so important. But I don't know. Did he charm this? I think he charmed a Water Elemental. I'm not sure. Yeah, he did. I don't know why he would do that. I have no idea why he would do that. But sure. Why not? Why not? Let's go ahead and speed this game up just a little bit. I know we're seeing some intense action, but this game has been going on for, oh, I don't know, an hour and 42 minutes, so we're gonna speed it up just a little bit. We've had to 1x most of it just because of the fact that, wow, so much action in this game. It's really been non-stop. This is the first real, I would say, lull in the game so far where both players are just kind of sitting around. And it looks like yAwS is saying, well, enough of that. I'm going to come down here. And, you know, it's gonna be on. It's gonna be up to yAwS, I think, to do something here, because there is an expansion getting gold. I'm very surprised, honestly, that yAwS didn't decide to sell some items maybe and get an expansion up, but he didn't do that. You know, it would be interesting to be expanding behind this attack and then to use the mass teleport to try to keep that alive, but. I don't know, it looks like we're not going to see that. yAwS, he can still nuke down units, he's still very, very good at that, but of course we're going to see a nice death coil. We're not seeing enough of the, coordination between these two heroes together to actually be able to get these units dead, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, yAwS is going to back off, he's going to back off. Again, you can't, I don't know, it wasn't good for him, there's so many skeletons out, but of course he's got so much mana, but his Mountain King's actually getting kind of low on mana, even though he's got level 3 Brilliance Aura. Because Avatar costs a lot of mana to cast, and so he's just going to have to see, will he be able to make this happen? And he's got to do something because he just doesn't have that expansion. He needs an expansion if he wants to just wait around and play the wait game. But you know, he's just doing such a good job right now, such a good job, even though he's got so little food count. And now he's going to mass TP out. Where's he going? He's going over here. I don't know why he's going over here, because he knows there's an expansion right here. He's got a flying machine, he can definitely see it. If he hasn't seen it, you know, he can definitely see that. Yeah, he's got tons of vision from that one flying machine, absolutely insane. And so he knows what's going on, even though he's going to lose that flying machine right there. He knows what's going on. You know, he's like, yep, that's what's happening. Yeah, I went on the wrong player. Apparently, if you go onto like FAiL.Life, it shows it from the player's perspective, even though he's now an ob. That's fine, doesn't really matter. We can always pick another observer. No problem at all. Of course, we're going to go up just a little bit more. He's actually seeing Audigy killing a couple of units off. One of the Griffin Rider he stole, it didn't get any upgrades, so he might as well kill that one. And he just wanted to get back down to 80 food so that he can start getting a lot more money from those guys right there. And of course, he knows yAwS doesn't have a very large army. And of course, he's been keeping good scouting information, so he knows he doesn't have an expansion either. And in fact, here we can see once again this fight happening, going underway. Of course, I mean, if yAwS can just make something happen with his nukes killing units, then that's good. But the cool thing about NecroWagon is once they all hit level 10s, you don't have to worry about feeding experience anymore. So this isn't really benefiting yAwS at all. This is actually benefiting Audigy, because yAwS isn't killing anything key. He's just killing skeletons for the most part. Killing the occasional fiend and stuff is not really mattering. He needs to kill heroes, and if he kills all the heroes, then he can win the game. But that's his only hope. And in fact, he's going for this Dark Ranger right now. Will he be able to kill it? Well, it looks like he's going to be able to keep that alive without losing him. Will we see the blink out of here for the Mountain King? He's going to blink right on out of there. Very good play. Of course, he also got Holy Lighted from the Paladin, keeping him alive. Oh man. This is looking worse and worse for yAwS. Actually, the longer this goes, he's just not making those connections. He needs to get the hero kills to really be able to stay in the game. Without hero kills, he can't really dent this army. If he could just get those hero kills, he could dent the army. He could actually go ahead, take out the expansion, and maybe even take out some key production buildings, maybe the altars, etc., or maybe even the whole base. Maybe he could win the game. But again, he has to kill heroes at this point. That's really his only hope, his only goal. Because he's not gone for the economy. There's so much gold still on the map. This is actually really a rare situation. Oh, Audigy actually has this gold mine as well. I didn't even see it blended right in on the minimap. But he also has this, so he's actually got 2 gold mines running right now. With, what is that, 80 food, 79 food? Oh yeah, he's making a load of money. He's already got 2,000 gold. Audigy's way ahead. Really, if this goes on much longer, then yAwS is not going to have any chance to win whatsoever. I mean, he's already really far behind. He just has to get some hero kills or something. But it's very difficult to get kills when you have sleep coming on your heroes, when you have silence coming on your heroes, when you have death coil. It just makes it really, really hard to actually land those massive amounts of damage you have to do over the spell rotations to actually take some units out. But he's not going to stop trying. He's going to keep trying. In fact, maybe he's going to go for some Necromancers. I don't agree with that decision. But hey, do what you want. And I'm not sure why Audigy's teeping out of this, because he can totally take this fight. I guess he saw that there's an avatar. Why risk it? I can lose this gold mine. It doesn't matter. I've got another one over here, you know. So, and he knows, again, he knows that yAwS doesn't have one. So he's just going to unsummon that. Going to prevent it from taking any damage from Blizzard. What? Takes damage from Blizzard? I don't think it was taking damage from Blizzard. I think it was just taking damage from the unsummoning. Because it's when it's unsummoning, it's immune to magic. But maybe it still takes damage from Blizzard. It might. It looked like it might have been. It looked like it might have been. I don't know. It very well could have been. Because that's spell damage and it's not magic damage. I don't know if it's immune to spell damage. I thought it was, but maybe it's not. Anyway, so yAwS probably feels pretty good about this. He's like, oh, well, I took out the expansion, but I don't think he scouted this. In fact, I don't think he has at all. Let's look for his vision. At his vision, there's not even a gold mine there. That's misleading. That might be a replay bug. So, but it looks, he definitely hasn't scouted that. So there's that. That is yAwS feeling very comfortable. And then at this point, he's feeling very comfortable. But the reality is that he's not very comfortable at all, whether he knows it or not. And if he could very easily lose a hero if he's not careful right here. And he's going to have to be very careful. Of course, using the Mountain King to wake up a hero that's left a little bit risky, as we saw. Can't actually bash your own heroes that way. You have to be very careful. Very careful. And this is insane. I mean, again, yAwS is playing very risky right now. If he was scouting a little bit better, he would be able to probably take out that other Haunted Gold Mine, which would work out really well for him. He's going to have to be really careful to not lose a hero right now. He doesn't have any kind of TP scrolls. He's going to go ahead and cast a Holy Light. He's getting slowed by that Dreadlord. Oh, he could lose his Archmage right here. If he loses the Archmage, oh, it's going to get staffed out, but he's going to have to still be very careful and needs to not lose the Paladin or the Mountain King. Very important units to not lose. He can potentially staff out the Paladin and then just, you know, blink away on the Mountain King. That's a possibility. But he's going to have to do that. Ooh, that could be really unfortunate for him. He's going to have to keep both of his heroes around. And he does get silenced on the Paladin, and there's really nothing he can do. Maybe come down here, maybe try to wake up the Mountain King with his Paladin. Oh, the Paladin's going to get surrounded. Will he be able to turn it around? He needs to get staffed out. He can staff out with the Mountain King. He's going to staff the Mountain. He blinks over here. Wow, brilliant play coming in from yAwS. Of course, he's not out of the woods just yet. This is a very fast army. He's going to have to come on and still be playing really, really careful, really, really smart, and he's much slower, so he's going to have to wait for that blink cooldown, and that's going to take quite some time. It looks like it's not going to come nearly enough in time, and it looks like he might actually go ahead and get surrounded or crippled or just focused down and killed, and he's going to have to be really careful. We'll go ahead and kill a Necromancer before he dies. There's the silence, and there's the mass nukes, and that's a dead Mountain King, and that's probably a good game, because without that Mountain King, yeah, that's a good game. Good game, well played, called from yAwS, and here we can go ahead, and this actually shows exactly what happened in the game. Audigy was the first winner, yAwS the second winner, FAiL.Life the third, and FiReDrAgOn the fourth winner. So we were casting this, took about an hour and 40 minutes to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I've never done an FFA before, but if you guys like that, let me know. Maybe we'll do more here and there. It was an hour and 50-minute long game. It got a little slow towards the end, but that's just the nature of FFA. So anyway, let's look at these. Let's look at these resource counts. Actually, all these counts really. So you can see very cool stuff here. I really want to see units killed. yAwS killing 567 units. Audigy actually killing only 317. Even FAiL.Life killed more, but that's just kind of the nature when you play Necrowagon. You get tons and tons of summons. Units produced, you can see Audigy produced 1,303 units. Largest army, he actually went up to 103 because of Charm. If we look at the heroes killed, you can see that Audigy killed 8 heroes, yAwS killed 7, FAiL.Life killed 5, etc. And resources. Gold mined, always an interesting one to look at. 66,592 gold mined by Audigy. Absolutely insane, staggering amounts of gold. And yAwS mining 62,000. So there you go. And of course the other one that's kind of interesting is gold lost upkeep. And I think this might have been the thing that hurt yAwS the most, was losing so much gold upkeep. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter too much, because by the end of the game, Audigy kind of caught up a little bit. So there's the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And that's the only game we're going to do tonight. It was a really long game. So thanks for watching. Feel free to watch tomorrow at twitch.tv/Spearby, where we'll go live again at 8:30, and then we actually start the cast at 9. So I like to start the stream a little bit earlier, put on a countdown timer, just so it helps me it helps me be organized and ready and all that good stuff. So that was the game. One final time. If you're watching on YouTube, I normally would say that there'd be an annotation here to do another game, but there's not another game. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!